How many were dancing?
Love your song.
Thanks. It makes me, well, I keep saying we have to have a dance party like above, at the top of the show so we can all
Yeah,
bump to
like it.
Hi, Brandi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm so happy that you could be here again. I was so excited because we were setting this up and I was like, Brandi, can you do it? And we had originally scheduled for Friday and she said yes. And we got Jon and we got Ellie, but then we needed it to change because it just needed to happen. So yes.
It's going to be exciting.
It's exciting. I'm so excited. Okay, so we're talking to Jon Bray and Allie from Alleytopfiles.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, or may not know, hello, everybody else who's in here. Hit the thumbs up, please. Hit the heart next to the chat. Let the algorithm know you're here. Also, say hello in the chat and tell us where you're watching from. And if you have any questions, type them in. We'll get to them, okay? So as you know, we have Jon Bray, and he is a person who has been investigating and looking at the angle of the microphone theory and the explosion that impacted Charlie's neck and as that being a possible cause. And then Allie, she has been electrocuted. She was electrocuted when she was young. It affected her whole life, still does today. And so she had noticed some things in the video that made her wonder if, we all know it wasn't a gun. So,
Nope.
It made her think that possibly some electrocution had happened. I like both theories. There's a lot of theories going on, but I thought it'd be really fun to get on here, talk about them, talk about, to me, maybe more than one thing happened, maybe it was more than one thing just to keep things complicated so that you couldn't point to just one thing that did it, because if you point to one thing that did it, then that's easier to find the culprit. So, I don't know what went on, but we know whatever story we're getting, it's shady.
Very shady. Very shady. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, I don't know if you have seen Trigger Smart. Jon's been on Trigger Smart. He does a really great job, but I'm going to play a little bit from Jon's time on Trigger Smart. He was on with Valhalla, and they did a phenomenal job. I love this whole episode, but Valhalla did have some interesting questions and some things here. So we'll play a little bit of this, and then we'll bring on Jon and we'll bring on Allie so you guys can say hello. So let me add this to stage so this is my first time with 4 of us. So we're going to, I'm playing with here we go. Now let me expand that. Okay. And take that out. There we go. Okay. So you'll have us here looking at that. And
the battery, basically they're going to be on the back face of the charge. So the wasted energy of the charge, 90% of the charge goes through the face of the microphone, the glass, face that we see fragmented. And
so Jon had one theory, and I didn't get to like what it was before. So this was 2 months ago, and so there was questions that came on or more information that he had. So the more information he has, his theory evolves and improves. So this is another iteration of his theory that he's explaining.
And that's against Charlie's chest. And then the kind of equal and opposite waste energy of the 10% that doesn't get put into that jet is displaced into the remaining of the case, and that includes the battery, the circuit board, and the actual outer case which is ABS plastic, which is the larger fragments that we see everywhere. And so that is responsible for the trajectory, the energy we see displaced in the shirt, and then obviously the fragmentation of the main case and the power that launched the circuit board and the battery across his chest.
All right. So for people that are in chat, they're asking, so what is the red and what's the blue?
The blue is just a part of the actual components. The red is the actual shape charge. So it's just a cylinder with a charge at the end of it, and it has a cone. And the idea is that it uses the Moreau effect, where you're basically taking an explosion and you're instead of allowing it like a traditional frag was going to go radially, it's going to explode in all directions. This is channeling all that explosion into a stream. So it gives it a path to escape, but it's a narrow path that cones out. And so as it speeds up through this cone, this it's basically like a nozzle. It's going to start to pull material from the cone, and that adds like aggregate to the jet stream, and that's what gives it its penetrating power. So it's either I'm leaning towards that it was probably a polymer cone or a PTFE cone, just because it would have been the most compact. The copper cone would have taken a little more.
So, and the reason that he came up with this is because as he slowed down the footage, he saw the shirt move and impact come from a place that wasn't in Charlie's neck.
A little more space, and it would have been easier to detect. So the copper cone would give you a higher velocity and deeper penetration, but the PTFE or the plastic cone would be able to give you a wider spread. And I think that kind of explains why we see more of the energy displaced in the shirt and around the device, because it wasn't as optimally designed as it could be, right? They had limitations to be able to fit it in there. So that's why we see the fragmentation, the trajectory of the circuit board and the battery and the shirt blowing up. If they could have designed it the way they wanted to with no space limitations, it would have barely even moved the shirt. Like, you could get really high efficiencies with really well designed shape charges, especially this is going to be less than 2 grams. So it could be very efficient in its delivery of that jet. And with flesh, it's usually these are made to penetrate,
Tanks.
armor, hard structures, right? So
Yeah.
flesh is like easy work for it. So it doesn't have to be that powerful to penetrate deep enough to cause mortal wound.
And for people who haven't seen this before, the actual, I don't know, what is it, plasma or whatever actually comes out, is coming out the small end.
Yeah.
So it's like it's directing it through that direction to the right.
Yep.
All right. And then one thing that's interesting, and actually I'll save that until we start the debate. All right, cool. All right. So that's everything I have personally. So Nate, if you want to start on your questions and your testing of the theory.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's always the one I was just thinking about is I like theories that are not complicated. Like me and Trey were talking about that. The more people that are involved, and the more people have to coordinate, the less likely I like the theory, just because tactically, when you're on the ground and you start doing things like this, it gets super, super complicated if you got a lot of people involved. So and these are just questions for John. I'm not trying to sharpshoot, but how do you think, or who in places this? It has to be somebody at TPUSA. Is it a security guard? Like who's getting a hold of this microphone? How are they? I don't know if they're swapping it out. I mean, I do like the idea that this is kind of a set it and forget it, much the way that the Israelis did with the pagers, to where months later you can just activate this thing when you want it to. But what's your thoughts on who sets this thing up, right? Like who's making sure Charlie is the one that has this on? Like how do they, how does it get in place? What's your thoughts on that, John? I don't want you to accuse people of murder,
right? I'm not
but
going to name names or anything, but I've had to train people for complex tasks, and just like you said, the less people involved in a task, generally the more likely you're going to have success. The more people involved, it's just the chain of failure increases. So in thinking this out, I always thought about that. Like they would want to reduce the amount of people, the liability, right? You don't want unnecessary people involved. You wouldn't want to have to trust. So that immediately sent me to that it was probably acoustically triggered, that, you wouldn't bank on someone sitting there watching Charlie, listening for the rifle shot to time it. Like you would either want the guy that makes the shot to set it off with the rifle shot, or have the actual device set off by the percussion of the shot, or the sonic sound of the projectile passing by. As far as like setting it to load the device, it could be at an airport anywhere. Like it could have been a party not even involved in TPC UCA. But I like to think that it was probably, if it was me, I would want someone on the audio team, because you want it placed in a certain way, right?
Right.
And I found the way that they placed that mic that day was a little peculiar. It wasn't like they normally place it. It was kind of a weird placement. It's like below his collarbone and set up on its side. If you look at his other, I went through all the different events and kind of like saw the evolution of how they mounted the mic, and it was unique in the way they did it. And then if you look at the actions of the audio team, they're a little suspicious. The one guy looks away right before the explosion goes off, and then the other audio guy is the guy that goes and runs behind the concrete wall and says, "Charlie's dead. They shot him.
Not wrong there."
So it's like it didn't really like give me a lot of confidence that they didn't have anything involved with it. Just the fact that if you're a friend of Charlie, you're gonna want to hope that he was alive. they saw him for maybe a split second after the rifle shot before they ran off. And he's already concluded that Charlie's dead, that they shot him. And then the one guy was, all his other productions where they're doing these type of Q&A things, the audio guy's standing up and he's right by Charlie. That day he's like ducked behind the table, the whole time. And then right before it goes off, he literally like tucks his head down like he didn't want to see, like he couldn't bear to watch.
Yeah. So let me stop sharing my screen here. Okay. So that was that. That was my always my theory and thinking was the more, what you said is the less people, the better. I agree normally, but then I'm thinking, well, if you can make it, more chaotic and crazy, and they could try two or three different ways to make sure that Charlie got how he ended up, that maybe there was a few things going on, like a fail safe, so to speak. But yeah, the experts, which I am not, say different.
And I just want to address a comment. Someone said they saw a girl in the crowd with a gun. Utah, you're allowed to carry a gun. And I think there were multiple people at the school that day that had guns that drew them as soon as they heard a shot being fired. So I just wanted to address that comment that I saw.
Yeah, and that's good. I'm glad you asked that. So we'll bring on Jon and Allie and say hello. And Allie has some information about that we wanted to discuss. So say hello
Perfect.
to Jon. Say hello to Allie.
Hi,
Hello.
guys.
Hi guys.
Thank you for having us. This is Christopher, and I'm Alleytopfiles.
Hi, John. Nice
Good.
to meet you.
Hi, John.
Good
Thanks
to
for
have
having
you.
me on.
Hi, Brandi.
We've got some buzzy.
Hi,
Wearing her
guys.
hat.
Nice beanies.
We've got a little bit
Love
of
them.
buzzy.
Yeah.
Somebody, do you have your phone? Can you move it away?
We
it's
don't have
still
a-
a little bit buzzy. Okay.
How's that now?
Is it me? I moved my
It's a
phone.
little bit. Maybe. Yeah, yours is already moved. Yeah. Okay. That's better. Whatever you did, that's better. Okay. So real quick, before we get to the question about the girl with the gun, I wanted to, if you see Jon, he's in a lab that I wanted you guys to know about. I just found out about this. Tell us about where you're at, Jon, and what that is all for.
I'm in my on-farm manufacturing facility. Me and my wife, we run a self-care beverage company. We make fermented beverages, basically trying to replace sugary sodas with, a delicious beverage that's carbonated and good for you. We make a water kefir soda that's non-caffeinated. It has all the probiotics, prebiotics, and then the kombucha, which is obviously caffeinated because it's made with tea. And then a whole line of self-care, deodorant, face creams, toothpaste, mouthwash. And we just try to keep it very simple, but, bring some science to it. So I spent a lot of time researching, the best ingredients, the newest, studies on things that help amino acids, things like that. So, yeah, we take a look at our website, bluemountainfarmok.com. We have something for the whole family. Most of our products are made for our family. We just make enough to share them with others too. So.
Awesome. So is it Blue Mountain Farms OKAY?
Blue Mountain Farm OK. Blue Mountain
Okay.
Farm OK. OK because we're in Oklahoma. So
Okay. The abbreviated. Okay, got you.
I didn't
Cool.
know this.
That's
I'm really excited to
awesome.
check that out.
Yeah, I was wondering because on Trigger Smart I can see is that a refrigerator that
yeah,
is
that's
behind you?
Yeah, that's the refrigerator. The whole setup, we're constantly changing everything. So everything's set up different now, but that's our main laboratory fridge. So that's where we keep all our ferments after we can them. And then, that's the canning line right behind me there. And then all the filling machines are all the stainless stuff in the back. So it's very compact, but it's just me and my wife. And, we make it work 7 days a week. We're out here making products for you.
How long have you been doing that?
3 years now.
Right on. That is very cool. All right. Well, everybody go get your kombucha. Get your kombucha.
Congratulations on
Yeah.
the business, man.
Yeah,
right
I heard
on.
it's been booming.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So good. And then we have Allie and Mad Max or Chris. He likes Mad Max.
Yeah.
Is that
I'm a
from the
fan.
Thunderdome? Is that
Yeah,
Mad Max in the Thunderdome?
Yeah, I always liked it when I was growing up, so I've always just sort of kept it as an online handle for socials or just for gaming or whatever. I've
Yeah.
always been a fan since I was a boy. So.
Okay, and how about those paintings on the wall? Is that
Uh,
one of your guys' artistic hands?
that would be me. I also paint, so, and I'm a photographer as well. So, yeah.
Okay, well, you guys are artsy and
Yeah.
technical and all the good stuff.
And he does audio and camera, so he knows a lot about the tech table that Philip had, and we think
Yeah.
he ghettoed it down that day. So
Yeah, I used to have
Mm.
Carol Farnsworth's job for 25 years on bigger shows than that. So
Oh,
you know,
really?
I can easily comment on all the gear. That's why we spent a lot of time on the gear. People thought that certain things were used in nefarious ways. And once we got some good pictures at it, we ruled out a whole bunch of it that it was just not involved in any of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Can you say what shows, what places you worked for before?
Sure. I've worked on The Bachelor. I've worked on Big Brother.
Ooh.
I've worked on a whole bunch of sporting events as a broadcast engineer. So I've done basketball, football, soccer, baseball.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, I did Beast Games season 1. It was a great 4-month contract. The crew is insane. We had a crew from 3 different countries. So a South American island, the United States, and Canada. It was the biggest crew I'd ever been a part of. And the show won a whole bunch of Guinness World Records for the biggest reality show, the biggest prize, the biggest amount of contestants.
And the most amount of cameras.
Yes, and the most amount of cameras on a reality TV show. We had about 80 operated cameras, and I was there as a tech setup guy, and I was operating robotic cameras. So it was an incredible experience, an amazing opportunity. The main director was from Australia. The second director was from the States. And then a couple of small field directors were from Canada. So it was a crazy crew. It was just something I'll always remember. It was a great experience to be a part of that.
Ah, that's so exciting. And now we get you.
Yeah.
Just trying to help out, just like everybody else is, right? Like everybody's
Yeah.
bringing their expertise and
We're
their
all
knowledge.
passionate about this.
and-
This is since the day I heard about it. I mean, I was a Charlie Kirk fan from way back when. I just like the fact that he doesn't need a phone to talk and he can just debate. And I love that about him and that his memory. I find like my memory is
Sharp.
a little bit like that too. So, because I have ADHD, right? So the memory that I have is, Baron says sometimes it's, oh my God, how did she remember that? I don't know. It just stays in my head. He says I'm like what do you call it? He says I'm like I talk too much sometimes. You said like I'm like a remote control.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Okay.
got to pause you. Do we have to pause?
And plus
Pause or
we'll have-
mute? Chris,
Yeah.
what do you use? Do you use the pause or do you use the mute?
Both. Probably both.
I use whatever will get me in least trouble. I think that's what I'll do,
Yeah.
most likely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know where you want to start with,
Oh,
but
that's
I
it.
think Jon Bray does amazing work. I think anybody, even Jordan Henshaw, me and him get into it sometimes. He's pretty hilarious though. I love Jordan Henshaw, and I just think anybody that recreates what's happening right now and is putting all this effort, even you two gals up here that's gone to Utah, I appreciate everybody's work
Yeah.
and dedication and time and
Yep.
hours and hours of looking through stuff like I do. It takes a person that has a heart and soul. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Okay, how many hours do you think, John, Allie, Chris, how many hours do you think you've spent on this? Okay, so like break it up in a week on average. How many
I
hours
mean,
a week have you worked
I'm
on
not-
this?
I work from home right now because I broke both my legs. I'm kind of like Baron broke.
Oh,
his
I'm
ankle.
sorry.
Yeah, I broke both my ankles a year apart from each, and then I needed
Ooh,
ligament
wow.
surgery. Yeah, I needed ligament surgery on my left, so I broke it and I needed ligament surgery. So I'm still recovering from that. But the time I spend on this, I guess it's because I have time now. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, we're doing it. We're
Yeah.
doing it from as soon as we wake up until we go to bed. I mean, I think we're still doing it like 4:00 in the morning. I'm
Yeah.
still talking to
She's the
people.
main trooper, though. I tap out at about midnight, so I bring her the laptop and a coffee in the morning, and
Yeah.
she's already answering DMs and stuff. And
Wow.
I just
So-
try to support her pretty much.
Over 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Are you guys just focused on Charlie Kirk right now? Are you guys doing other things as well?
I was doing the Amy Bradley case before any of this started. So I was helping with that actually because I thought I found her in Barbados,
Yeah.
remember? But
Yep.
yeah, there was a girl singing karaoke and her name was Amy and it looked identical to her. So I was focusing on that in August and then this Charlie Kirk thing happened in September. So as soon as I saw it, I immediately I mean, we watched a debate the night before.
Yeah, we literally watched him debate. It was the Cambridge debate the night
Yeah.
before, and then
I got him into watching Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
And then I couldn't believe that. I when I saw it, I go, no, this can't be right. And then I'm like looking in Twitter and I'm looking at more video footage and just something hit me like this can't be real. This it can't be real. But then everybody said he was and then he died and all that stuff. But I already started going through like Facebook and other stuff. I screen recorded Jack Hibbs. That's where Baron got my Jack Hibbs video of him saying that our friends overseas was the first one who said he was passed away.
yeah,
Mhm.
I
was
recorded
sketchy.
that
That was
because
sketchy.
Jack Hibbs deleted it. I recorded all of I already know this from doing other cases, you know.
Yeah.
I recorded
People delete stuff when they think they're going to get caught, right?
Rob, a whole bunch of stuff. I just started downloading stuff and I'm like, I told Chris, I go, I think this is not real. And he goes, you even said, babe, I don't want to talk about this. This is so gory and this is so upsetting. I don't want to talk. He didn't even want to talk about it.
Not
And
right,
there's-
not right
Mm.
away.
And there's some
Like,
husbands out there, right? Like there's some that like I've talked to other women and they're like, my husband doesn't want to talk about this and they don't agree with anything I'm saying. They don't want me to investigate. And I just like thank you so much, Chris, for like actually listening to me. And
that's my
was-
job.
it was after the memorial. I couldn't take it. I took it right up into the memorial and then I went, there is something wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
That's how I felt too.
you felt that too, right? Like I cried at the memorial. Like as soon as she spoke though, I felt something was off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, it was absolutely devastating. As soon as he got murdered and things weren't adding up, I was like, we need to investigate this more.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
And then there's
As soon as
YouTubers that had like the video of the tent area. That's when it changed for me.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw the shot that same day, the video, I knew. I'm like, that was a pretty organized and intentional, not just somebody who was doing it. That it felt, I just felt it in my gut, like something was up.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about you, John? How many hours do you think you've put into this?
I'm pretty busy, so I just do it in my spare time. But I always keep an agent kind of working on it. So I have like a local AI agent that I have programmed that's always processing things. And so I have like a kind of a list of priorities, and then I keep a queue of things. Like I like tangibles, so I don't get into like names and people. Like I try to find things I can measure and find in another source, so I can get multiple measurements of the same thing. Because then it's not an artifact, it's not a digital or a fake, right? If you find it in two videos and it measures the same, and you get the same frequencies or you get the same frames, like it's real. So I'm just always looking, for the best quality files I can find, and then trying to find new techniques to analyze them. So probably like at least an hour or two a day, but some days I can find something, usually on accident. Usually I'm looking for something and I spot something else in a processing, and then I'll go down a rabbit hole and spend, I can spend 4 or 5 hours in a day working on it. But it's usually at night after I feed my kids and everybody's in bed. I'll just sit there, or I'll wake up at like 4 a.m. and just start, I call it whipping, where I get my AI agents running and I just keep them working. Yeah.
Were you able to download that one that was posted? Did you get that link and download it, or?
Yeah, I got everything.
It got downloaded?
I have full analysis already ran on it. So I have all that.
So that one that Piper posted, you were able to download? Okay.
Oh yeah, it's completely legit. There's 4 audio files, one file from a shotgun mic, and then 3 audio files from the Canon camera itself. It's the most revealing audio we have because it's lossless. It's PMC or PCM, and the other files are like lossy. They're compressed because they're cell phones. So this was
Right.
like as professional of audio that we could get from the event, and because it was so far away, it gives you a lot of time delay, so you can get a lot of good measurements off of the time delay between the stage and the shooter. It was kind of like in between the both of them, so where the other cameras are pretty close. I have lots of measurements from all the cameras that were close. This gave me measurements from a camera that was away that I could compare the two, and everything just fell right into place. Like, so the two move files of the iPhone 15s on the right side of Charlie, and then that file, the files that we know for sure are solid gold because we have metadata for them. We know what device they came from. The other files you have to like, you can't be 100% sure about them because they're Twitter uploads that have been re-downloaded, redistributed. Every time that happens, they lose quality. You don't have metadata for them. Like there's just, you can use them, but you can't like say they're rock solid. You can just use them as comparison for the other one. So this just gave me a third comparison that was further away. So yeah, it was super valuable for me. Not so much the video. The video is weird. It's like shot in a weird frame rate, but the audio was gold, absolute gold.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
Were you able to analyze any of the spatial audio from the cell phones? Did that help you at all, or was it just useless?
No, the spatial audio is weird. It's more of a gimmick than anything else because it's like it's proprietary like processing internal. It's not like a stereo, right? Where you have left and right channel. It's not analog, but it's as close as analog as you get. Like the left channel picks something up, the right channel picks something up, and you can see those two spread out. Like the 4 channels on the iPhone 16, like it's more gimmicky than anything else. I wouldn't, you can use it, but the left and right channels are probably more useful than the up and down channels. Essentially, that's what you have. You have a left channel, a right channel, a down channel, and an up channel. And the down channel and the up channel the event wasn't really involved. It was a linear event. Everything happened on a linear plane. So the left channel and the right channel are the most important data points that you can have.
So is this video you guys sent him, or what is this video you guys are talking about, or the audio?
I think it was the video everybody's been asking to release.
It's the UVU video where the university's newspaper was recording with a professional, Canon camera with a shotgun mic up on the balcony. So it was further away than all the mics, but it has a professional, shotgun microphone, which is very directional and is pointed it's pointed at the stage, where all the other microphones are cell phone mics, which are very limited in what you can, you can't pull a lot from them. And that video was kind of released by UVU on YouTube, but it was blurred. And so, someone got the unblurred version of it, but it was like the chain of custody was always weird. How they got it, the story kept changing, and then we never got the full version of it. We just got the MP4 of it that was like compressed and cut down. And so this is the actual file that it's like 3 gigs from the actual camera that the UVU recorded. So you get all the audio, all the frame rate data, all the metadata, like everything you wanted is there now. So it's just a lot more comprehensive of a file now.
So was that do you think that was intentional, the blurry video UVU? I mean, obviously there's better quality video than
well, they just wanted to upload it to YouTube. They had to blur it. If they would have uploaded the unedited, they would have got smoked. YouTube
they would have been smacked right away.
Yeah, it would have been
we got taken
deleted.
down.
Yeah. So
100%.
It's the only way they could upload it.
I think now anything with Charlie Kirk, if you even show the tent area, you get
really?
It's tough.
So is that the one they took down? Because didn't UVU have one up and then they took it all the way down and asked other people to take it down?
Yes, I had heard that. I didn't confirm it myself, but I believe that's what I've been hearing anyways, is that it was uploaded and then they took it down. But I didn't see it uploaded or anything. Like when that happened, like I wasn't scanning YouTube, but that's what's going around, and it would make sense, I guess. Like maybe someone higher up at UVU asked them to take it down. Because UVU does have some some high-end donors that donate to that university. So one of them
Yeah.
just said, "Hey, could you please remove that? We don't appreciate it." So that makes sense to me. You know, you don't want that up
Mhm.
forever, especially on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Mhm.
So okay, so back to the question about the girl with the gun.
Okay.
There was some things I noticed, and it was for you, Allie. It was more than just that she had a gun. Why don't you tell us run through that?
Well,
You,
at
you want me
first,
to just break down the beginning, and then you can dive into it? Or
I
what?
mean, I'll explain like how I came across it. First, I know everybody saw people with weapons, right? I had to blur it out. I'm very sorry. I don't want Teresa to get a strike or anything. So she's obviously carrying a weapon here, and everybody probably saw this video. If they didn't, I'm sorry, I cannot share it. You go to my X and you can watch the video there. But I just thought it was weird. I even talked to Ian Carroll about it, and maybe even Billy and Brandy. I can't remember, but a lot of people commented saying, she's just a student or she's just a random person. I just thought she was trained. She looked trained the way she was moving and just her eyes. And I look at not just the gun that she was holding. So I just thought just something was just off that day. And then I just dismissed it because I couldn't find her again. And then somebody asked me to
I
look for
mean,
the
she could have been like
umbrella
in a
girl.
military program.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what we
There
eventually
we
found
go.
her. But then I was looking for Umbrella Girl, and I pulled up some footage from the tunnel, and everybody's been looking at this footage of the tunnel so many
Yeah.
times, George Zinn being carried out.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden she
Mhm.
comes in the picture and I go, "Is that the gun girl? Is that the girl I've been looking for?" And she was just buzzing around Chief Long, like she touched his waist, like she grabbed his waist. And then she touched his shoulder, and I'm like, "Okay, she definitely
Yeah,
knows
so
Chief."
she's obviously not just some regular person.
Yeah.
Once you see that and that she had access to the crime scene around the tent, obviously she's not a regular person. She's either an undercover cop or she's an undercover Fed. So
Yeah.
what
Well, we don't
originally,
know allegedly.
allegedly, well, we found out who she was
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
right? But that was basically just saying, hey, she wasn't just a useless person there. So what originally thought was wrong. So we
Yeah.
decided to follow it.
Yeah,
And
and I followed it up even more, because it went down a rabbit hole from there trying to find her to, a law that they changed, in August 18th of 2025
yeah,
to carry an open, firearm weapon on campuses. They changed it
128.
128th, Bill 128. They changed that in so you weren't allowed to just like just hold your weapon out and carry it at a campus. That wasn't allowed actually at Utah. They were addressing that in May, and some of the kids were apprehensive about it. They would feel less safe because you had to have it concealed, unloaded in a bag, and you weren't allowed to show it. They just changed this law, and you guys can Google it. August 18th of 2025, 1 month before Charlie went to this event. So I thought this was very weird. And all these people now could just carry it. They were all there holding, running with guns, and it's just like this wasn't allowed in
earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So and then we also found a document from UVU which said even though Second Amendment rights allow you that, there's still certain places you couldn't carry, but it was accepted as long as it wasn't shown. And the reason why they created this bill was to take away all the gray area and make it a law, which makes sense. You don't want people guessing, was this okay? Was this not okay? Because you can't walk into the Oval Office swinging an M16 around.
No.
Like there's places you can't carry weapons, right?
So then why did Tyler Robinson conceal his weapon when it was an open carry?
Yes, and that was something that was also part of that. Not only was this new law for handguns, it was for rifles. So as long as you have your permit to conceal, you are now allowed to open carry on campus, and you can carry a rifle around strapped to your shoulder.
Yep.
So chasing this girl down led us down to this information that we discovered about this leading up to just before Charlie died. So now, why would Tyler have to stick a rifle down his leg when they just passed a law that says it's legal to carry it on campus? So that whole part of
yeah.
So he could have just strapped it around his shoulder and walked in, and nobody could have done anything to him. A police officer would have just said, "All right, welcome to the event, sir. They just
And
made it completely legal. And this was just before Charlie got taken out allegedly by a rifle shot.
And
So
I'm just,
that's the
yeah,
part
I'm
which
just
makes it
wondering,
weird.
did Charlie Kirk know that this law was changed in August 18th?
That's another thing.
2025?
Was he aware
Yeah.
that it was now okay to close conceal, open conceal any handgun and any rifle on campuses?
No,
Did he know that
You
now?
can have it loaded. The law before was it had to been in your bag,
That's true.
unloaded. You couldn't carry it
Yeah.
to dorm room or inside event outside. It had to be unloaded.
It was for protection only. So we uncovered a part which is about dorm rooms, and that's what Allie was just
Yeah.
referring to. So if you had a weapon in dorm, you could not carry it out of your dorm room. So it had to be in your room, locked away safely as per normal, right?
Yeah. But they changed it. They literally made it more
Yeah, and that's
accessible.
so-
And I just find it very weird. Right after this, he had an event and everything's open. It doesn't sit
Well,
well
his
with.
security team should have known that. And I don't know if it's allowed, since it's an event,
An event.
if they could have changed the rules just for that event, so that couldn't have been a thing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm
Because
wondering.
there was no security, like there were no metal detectors or anything like that.
Well, why would there be if you have an open carry, right?
Yeah, now everything's legal. So like that's everything that's surrounding this young woman with a gun. So no, it wasn't just a silly girl from the audience trying to be cool. And
Yeah.
it actually led us
Yeah.
to discover this as well. So
And I did bring up the pictures on stage if you want to show those who
Yeah.
she is. Like,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what Tyler Woods. So that's what caught me was the way she was moving, but also how familiar she was with Chief Long. Like
Yes.
Yes.
you don't you don't approach an officer and have a gun and touch his shoulder and touch his hip.
no. Look
You just
trained.
don't. Or they knew each other and he
Yes.
knew she was there, and maybe in her training. So what did you find out about her training and schooling?
I don't know if I can see it there.
Forensic
she's
science, let me make
forensic
it bigger.
science, and I think she's also had training with the SWAT team.
yes. And she had forensics training. She did do a lot of her training in the greater Salt Lake area. So then she can get deployed to like Provo, Orem, and other places.
Violent crime investigators and patrol officers, SWAT team, forensics.
Like she's got great training.
Yeah.
And she did study at UVU.
Yeah.
So once we got to the end of this sort of rabbit hole with her, we believe that she was legit there as an undercover police officer, probably just helping.
Yeah, allegedly. I don't know.
Yeah. So at this point, we're saying like, we exonerated her. We don't think
Yeah.
she had anything to
No.
do with it.
No.
But however, that investigating her led us to finding the gun law change,
Yeah.
which was odd.
Mhm.
So investigating her still bore fruit, even though, we don't believe she's a guilty party in any way.
Yeah.
We believe she was there doing her job as she should be with the great amount of training she has. So, kudos to her.
And I just want to
Mhm.
shout out pattern recognition because she helped me as well find her. I gave her all the pictures. She is pretty amazing. Brandi, you probably know her. Laura.
Pattern recognition.
Yeah, you probably know her. Yeah, pattern recognition on YouTube.
She's all over. She's got a couple different handles.
So I asked a couple people, "Can you help me?" And like they showed me some pictures. People thought it was Glenn Beck's daughter. I'm like, no, no.
That went wild, and we're like, no, like she's got tattoos. This girl doesn't. Like,
look
it's not even
similar,
remotely her. It's not
Looked
remotely her.
identical to Glenn Beck's daughter, but it wasn't. No. Yes.
So what about go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just going to say. So that's just pretty much how we sort of, stumbled into that whole thing, and it was just weird, like seeing her being there when they were taking away George Zinn, and like you said, Teresa, just having access to him in such a familiar way, just immediately struck a chord with Allie, and she just wanted to figure out who she was, whether innocent or nefarious, whatever it was, whatever the truth was.
Yeah.
We just figured it was worth chasing.
Yeah, turn no stone unturned, as Erica would be fond of saying.
Oh dear.
But we're the ones doing the stone turning.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
And they
Yeah.
should be doing it. Yeah, exactly right.
Yep.
speaking of that, so you immediately noticed his arms in the picture. So lead us through your process and through your research of how you got to where you are today and how you've evolved your theory.
Right.
Actually,
well,
just one thing
Yep.
is what we're going to do is we've actually in the past couple of weeks been evolving and changing our theory a little bit. And it's
Not too
similar.
much, not too
It's
much.
similar, but there's a lot of key differences. So since we haven't brought that out, what we're going to do is discuss the old theory because that's
Yeah.
something that
Okay.
everybody's
I
familiar
mean,
with.
yeah, we're bringing it up on Friday, so maybe Jon Bray can maybe he could help us because there
Maybe,
is.
yeah.
I have a bombshell on Friday.
Ooh,
I
teaser.
yeah. I mean, I have 2 other people helping me, so I can't I would love to share it with you now, but maybe we can do another live stream because Jon Bray is gonna have to wean in on this because I don't know yet. I don't know yet. But it's a bombshell. But
Intriguing.
how I started all this was like I said, like Brandi, like we felt weird at the memorial, and then I started Instagramming, Twittering, and I didn't have Twitter really at the time. I was kind of using was it your account? I think I was using your account and just like looking at stuff. And then I went to Instagram. I found Mr. Letgo because he was the only one that answered me at the time. And he invited me to the chat. And then I started talking to him there. And a girl from Utah sent me her Google Drive of a whole bunch of videos and stuff like that because she said her phone was going crazy. She couldn't even upload. She couldn't download anything.
Yeah.
But from there, I looked at it. I looked at some of the footage, and I immediately clear footage of Charlie, and I immediately said, "Whoa!" It like a flashback of when I got electrocuted. Okay, not saying that he was at the time until I started really looking, and then other photos would come out, like Charles McClintock's photos would come out. And then I even zoomed him in the video of him falling over, holding the mic. The ring falls off one finger, goes to the next, stays on that finger. His pinky finger looks broken because it goes right like that, and it's bent. Just certain things that I'm picking up, and I sent it to Baron because Mr. Letgo has a theory of something popped in his shirt, and it could be possible, and I'm not I'm not married to any theory. I want this solved, right? So I just sent everything to Baron, and then me and Baron got on a show because he didn't even know he had burnt hands. Some people see it, some people don't.
And that's fine.
That's fine, right?
Yeah.
I do see his arm. My arm got burnt. I have a left bundle branch block in my heart from being electrocuted. I almost died. Lucky to be here, but my whole hand and my arm burnt. So when I saw his hand, I just went, "Oh no, I gotta get a hold of somebody." So I was trying and trying and trying, and finally, Baron did answer me. So we discussed and we brought up a whole bunch of pictures and different events from prior of Prove Me Wrong events and how everything was elevated, had mats, and was
Proper amount of insulation was
protect-
there.
Yeah,
You
was
know,
protected. I noticed that he was on a table. His feet were on top of water bottles. There was water all around the courtyard. Everything just gave me shivers. I just didn't like the fact that there was water everywhere. He had a corded mic. There was just so many things that I felt like I have to get a hold of Baron. So I don't know if you've seen the episode of me and Baron's, but we did. I don't think it was the second show we did.
Yep.
He did 2 shows of the electrocution theory. So yeah, and then from there, more information would come out, right?
Yeah.
More and more pictures. Then it looked like he had been tased. I don't know. I
The
have no idea.
dots.
yeah,
Yeah,
those weird dots, like they don't even look. It's weird. They don't look like anything from electrocution. They don't look like they're shrapnel from an explosion allegedly. So what is it? It was bizarre. It didn't that one thing doesn't match any theory out there. And
And
it's
he did have beauty marks there. So if you get burnt, obviously the beauty marks are going to go darker.
that's
But
possible.
but positioning of it just it looked like a taser.
Too perfect, too uniform. It was uniform. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, from
Yeah.
your experience of getting electrocuted, because in the movies, right, when you think of someone getting electrocuted, it's like really dramatic.
Yep.
Is that not how it is in real life?
For me, I saw his eyes go back. That's what I don't remember what I looked like. My sister was there, so I don't
Mhm.
remember it. I don't remember it at all. I kind of blacked out for like 10 minutes, she said. So she just said I wasn't responding, and something from The Exorcist, like I just went like back like that, and I couldn't move. And I really was stiff, and I held that posture like that, and I didn't let go. And I felt all I can remember is I felt like I was being sucked into that electrical socket. Like the amount of energy that I felt that moment was I it just felt like I was being like drawn into that socket. That's all I remember. And then I woke up, I came to, and I just heard my sister screaming at me, and then I kept it from my parents for a week. I didn't tell my
Yeah.
parents anything.
Well, she kind of had to, because this is the funny part of it.
My
one of-
dad's an electrician.
Well, a master electrician. He helped with lighting redesign on the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Like, master electrician. He's
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
And he's seen people fry
In front of his
Right.
face
to
in 2
death.
seconds, like
Wow.
To death.
within. He said, "Hey, don't touch that," and bzz, dead, like that fast. And he would tell me all the time, "Don't touch this, don't touch that." And here I am, my feet in water, and the tub is overflowing, and I'm going to reach for that plug on the washing machine, and that's what happened to me. I felt like I was getting sucked into the socket.
Hence
So
why she couldn't tell her old man, because she'd been told that her whole life.
She
would have
in
got
trouble.
yeah. But then the burns came, and I
Yeah.
had to
So yeah, like on TV, you see somebody like shake. They don't just go stiff. A lot of times when I've seen it, they're shaking and convulsing.
Mhm.
I didn't see myself. All my
Yeah.
sister said was like my eyes went back, and then I was just like that. That's it.
Yeah.
I've only seen somebody get electrocuted once, and it was on the job, and he was standing, so it's different than from this, but he was doing something, and he reached out to a wall panel. Something was messed up there. I don't know what it was, but he immediately went like this and then went back.
Yeah.
And so again, it's not really doesn't really translate to this situation, because we had a gentleman sitting.
Yes.
But it was it's the closest thing that I've witnessed with my own eyes is the tensing of the body. And so Allie and I were curious, and we just started talking to more and more people. Like with my business, I know amazing electrics in the film and TV business. So started bouncing some of this off them and showed them some pictures. And he said, "Well, I can't tell you if it happened for sure, but if you're asking me, is it theoretically possible? Well, I'd say yes, but I can't tell you if that's what happened here on the day. But if you want an honest opinion, is it possible based on what you've shown me? Well, then I would have to say yes." So, it was something that we just slowly sort of confirmed. We started within our own family and our group of coworkers around us. And then when Ali brought it to Baron, he then went and did his own verification through his own sources and his own people.
Yeah.
And we just gave him the information. And then he took it and he goes, "Okay, I'm going to go check with some people." And he came back and he said, "Well, the people that I checked with kind of agree with what the people that you checked with are saying."
And it breaks bones. So I did break one of my fingers, and I do have a left bundle branch block from this, and it's the electrical part of my heart that just doesn't pump properly. And so and if I wasn't wearing any jewelry. So I remember my father telling me, if you wore any jewelry, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
he had jewelry on. That's one of the things I had looked up after seeing your theory. I had looked up if how you could account for the bones in his neck, and your neck can constrict and contract tight enough to where you would bust.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had a
Bust bones.
landscaper DM me. Actually, I have a whole bunch of like electrical people DMing me, but this guy was a landscaper. Actually, he said he's witnessed it with his own eyes that the guy was doing some landscaping work near a fountain, and he went to go touch a cord of whatever machine. I guess it was the
mower.
mower. I don't know what it was. He went to go touch something and immediately got electrocuted. It went right up his body and blew a hole out of his neck.
Oh, wow.
And I
That's what I
want
was
him
gonna
on.
ask
To,
you.
I
I was
want
like,
him
how
to
do you
come on my.
explain that?
Yeah. I want him to come on my live stream so he could talk about it. He's trying to find out who the guy was because he's not with us anymore. But I'm not saying that's what happened to Charlie, right? Because my theory is, I think this is just my theory. I'm not done with it yet because I think he did have something in his neck like a squib. I just do, and I think he had a pack underneath his nipple area, and I think something went wrong. He went in on it to either get injured or to kind of fake an injury or whatnot, and then because everything just doesn't make sense. You got actors, you got all this stuff, you got to put it all together. And I think something went wrong. We either was an accident or on purpose. I think it was purposely done and allegedly. And if you have any liquid in your neck, that would cause,
You're meaning from a squib, right?
yeah, like I think somebody triggered something and it opened up the hole in his neck. And then but we're not done our theory though. Like it's kind of complicated because I feel like an electrical charge happened near his that's why I want to ask Jon Bray, because I think it happened more near his chest area here and his microphone than up here first. That's what I
Charlie
see.
was in on it at first.
He was I feel like he went in on it to fake it, but he didn't know he was going to die. They killed him anyways.
We feel like with a small group of people within allegedly Turning Point and the government, a small group of people, we're going to help him disappear because of what was happening politically.
Yeah.
And we believe our friends overseas found out about this and used this as a way to take him out because everything was already organized for him. The entire setup, the location, the patsy, absolutely everything was organized for them. They didn't have to think of it. They didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
All they had to do is wait for the right time to make their move.
And we could be wrong. Like I mean, this is just something that's been going through our heads. And like I don't see Charlie just going to an event like that and go, let's go. No.
Yeah, that makes me wonder like what purpose he would have in that because, like for Trump, I think Trump's, that whole thing, the earshot, I think that was just made up to shore up his base because I think he needed it. For Charlie, he was at the top of his game. He was in line to be, I believe he was probably looking at, running for office. I've always believed that.
Too. Yeah.
He would have been a good president.
The
Vance Kirk ticket's happening now, or not anymore.
What a joke that is.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Brandi?
Well, I was just saying, you said that you have been watching Charlie Kirk and you like him and his character. Do you think that he would let a young kid get accused and potentially the death penalty for his murder if he actually wasn't murdered though?
No. I don't think he knew that this was going to happen. Like I said, he went in on it to like what Trump did, like his ear, he went he wanted to injure himself somehow, whether it would be not to unalive himself. He wanted just to get hurt. And then they did it anyways. That's just like my thoughts. I don't know. I just feel like he wouldn't have it. Brandi, I try to go into it like, look what he posted the day that he went into UVU. He posted about Irina the day.
Yeah.
The day that he went into UVU. That was his post. I'm just like, she died from a neck thing. I'm just like, why is he posting this? The day he's going into UVU is just so bizarre. That was his last Instagram post. I don't know. I like to tie everything in. And there's so many actors, as we know, Hunter, Kozak.
Zen and
the sheriff.
The sheriff who just retired.
This is the reactions of people like when if you see a shooting, you don't see everybody just gets out of there. They're all just like this. No, you're getting out of there. You're like, why? And there's just one guy. He's like, oh my God, Charlie, oh my God, what?
Mhm.
There was
it's
some weird things
weird.
going on with people afterwards. That's for
It's weird.
sure.
It was very weird.
Yeah, the whole thing is bizarre.
Like one
Yeah.
thing
So-
we always thought that really needed to be explained was the shirt movement, and that's one reason why I do watch. We both watch John's work a lot because
Yeah.
he's really been putting a lot of time and effort to explaining what's happening here. Because without knowing what was underneath his shirt, it's very hard to explain, right? So I actually was thinking that it was John's theory for a little bit because nothing could explain what was going on underneath the shirt. And as we started talking more and more about electricity, I'm like, okay, well, if we roll with this, it has to explain what's going on with his shirt then. Otherwise, this theory is dead before it starts. So I started looking into electrical theory and magnetic theory. And that's when it started making a little bit more sense to me. And I don't want to like nerd out too much because it's real technical, but I'm just going to say it just quickly and in the most simplistic way I can. Magnets basically are a north and south pole. When you hit them with a charge, they react differently. One of the poles will be pulled close to it. The other pole will be pushed from it. And that is initiated, that reaction by an electrical charge. That an electrical charge also creates a small magnetic field which could travel through clothing. It might make it look like it's elevating. So that's bizarre, right? So you could get a little bit of this, right, with the shirt. But now if you have the magnets from the clasp on the mic moving, that could cause some weird stuff that we're seeing. If the magnets wouldn't from the mic wouldn't move, then I would say this is not looking like an option. But since that is possible with the theory of magnetic theory and electrical theory, it's something that can't be 100% dismissed. And I'm sorry, I was hoping to keep that short. I think I failed.
No, that was
No,
good.
that's
That
good.
wasn't long.
Good.
And I didn't want
Yeah.
to get extremely technical because like I'm trying to say it in a way where people can understand. And now you can look at that yourself, right?
Mhm.
And try to find that information yourself. But I've never totally discounted anybody's theory because no one theory explains everything.
Everything.
Nothing explains everything. So that's also why I think there was some kind of potential detonation in the pack, whether it was done by
To fool us.
or whether it was done just as to fool us, to throw us off, or
Misdirection.
misdirection. To make the pack detonate, you wouldn't even need an explosive. And I don't think people realize that. You could have made that pack detonate without even using an explosive. If you put a bunch of conductive material in there, copper, silver, anything, and then you hit it with a charge, you would get kind of like an arcing reaction from the pack, which would then, for lack of a better phrase, cause the pack to disintegrate or explode in a similar way that John's already described in detail. So you could have made that mic a weapon without putting explosives in it, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And I think that some kind of detonation or something there might be still possible. Now, how that happened
Yeah.
is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
We've got a couple theories, but nothing we can really kind of really nail down hard and go, we think that's exactly what it is. So we haven't got to that point yet.
Well, I think they were ripping something off of his shirt behind that tent area. They were definitely taking something off of his chest there.
Yeah. Well, no
Mhm.
They
matter
weren't
what it
securing
was.
a wound, that's for sure.
Yeah, we've had somebody who studied Brian Harple's actions as a medic to see if he went in and out of his bag, and then applied anything to Charlie. And she
Mhm.
watched the way the bag was positioned when he went in and when he went out, and it did not look like he actually unzipped his bag.
Yeah,
Which
it was a nurse that said that, right?
It was actually a friend of ours, and then we asked a couple nurses, and they said that yes, that's possible.
Also, the blood is not oxygen. Like it's if you have a carotid artery, it's more bright red. This is coming out really dark. Like it looks like somebody even said beet juice or something. Like really dark blood. It's not, it's just like, you know.
Mhm.
It's not what this nurse said that she's seen in her history of carotid arteries. That's for sure. It's going everywhere. It's like Valhalla said. It's just
There'd be yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's a
Spray.
mess. It's a
Yeah.
mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So it's just it looks a little bit too fake and gay for me. Like that hole is just so circular and just ready to go. I do see like when I highlight the picture of his neck. I know we can't show it here. I do see like some kind of square patch in his neck. I know a lot of people see other things. I'm not married to any theory, right?
Mhm.
I'm just stating the fact of what I see and what I'm thinking that could have happened. It could have been a multitude of 2 or 3 things to trick us and to go down this JFK thing that we got going
Yeah.
on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do the road mic and having like, don't you think that would be one of our first things that we would think, because the overseas do that all the time?
See, that's why, like, I thought it was possible, and I still think it is possible, but because our friends overseas blew the cover on that with the pagers and the radios already, like,
Mhm.
wouldn't that be the first thing we've gravitate to? And a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people think that's exactly what happened. And we watched this documentary about our friends overseas agency. That starts with an M. I don't want to say it because we
Mhm.
did a live stream on them and it's still banned.
Yeah, yeah. We did a MO. You guys know what it is,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
they brag about being the producers on the world stage. It's a 60 minutes documentary with a retired agent. They brag on putting deception out there and making everybody believe it. They brag about fooling people, that sometimes it's a game for them.
Yeah.
And that's a 60 minutes documentary. And if you want to learn about them a little bit, that's a really good
But
documentary to check out.
I do think what Jon Bray said, I do think it did explode. I do think because they wanted to destroy it. They don't want the evidence of that audio.
No.
They don't want that
Mm.
audio. So that's why I feel like 2 or 3 things happened, Teresa. I was telling you, and I'm wondering what Jon Bray thinks, because I think it did do that and it did do something else. Because
Yeah.
why would they? If you destroy that audio, it's gone. His road
Yeah.
mic, it's gone.
John, is there a way in your theory that would cause a magnetized reaction? Like, is there anything that would make sense of that? Of like the ring? Because what I'm thinking of is when the ring came off, and in the video, it looks like it's just kind of hanging there for a minute. I'm like, how does
Yeah.
that even happen?
The ring falls to the ground. I've tracked it all the way to the ground. It's a hinged
Yeah.
ring. It falls off his finger and passes in front of his pinky, and it looks like it
Mhm.
stays on his pinky. But if you get a high enough quality, like a before the re-downloads and re-downloads, you can track it all the way to the ground. Particularly the 2 move files from Charlie's right side, you can see it fall all the way to the ground, bounce off the ground, and then fall back down again. So it
Mhm.
fell with about the same rate of speed that the blood fell. The spots on his hands was from the blood. I've traced the blood coming out. The very first squirts of blood is when his hands is transitioning in from his body, and those squirts hit his hand. And that's that picture of Candace that she first released from the back camera that shows the
Yeah.
spots on his hand.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are that's the very first squirts of blood that come out that actually hit his hand. And then like later his hands are all orange. That's where he just had blood running down his arm. If you look at the UVU review, it goes long enough without panning off of him that you can see the blood starts to pour down his arm, and it just kind of like a fountain ends up like going all the way down his palm. And then the security guys have blood smeared all over them. You look at the blood that's smeared on them, it has like that orange looking cast. It looks like
Mhm.
a burn, kind of looks like. And I think that those high resolution stills that were released later, they capture a lot of that. The under his shirt on his chest, that weird kind of like splotchy, kind of blistery looking, rash. It almost looks like an abrasion rash. That's from cavitation. You can look at gunshot wounds when people have a bulletproof vest on. When your flesh cavitates heavily, it causes this speckledy blood pattern on it. And you can see that examples of that where people will get hit by cars or people are ran over by cars. You actually see like the emblem of the car or the tread pattern of the tire left on their skin, and then the outside they'll do that speckledy pattern where it's just like dots of blood in an area, and it's just from where your skin basically like it's from abrasion or cavitation. It's where the blood it's not enough to rupture your skin, but it's enough to cause the blood like a blood blister underneath your skin, but it's not a even kind of cast. But as far as the magnetic thing goes, I work on tangibles. I don't have any examples of that ever happening. Like I like to find real world examples and then compare them to what I have as far as like data goes, and compare how they differ or how they're similar. And I don't have any examples of that. So that's why I haven't really gone down that route. And that's really what led me to the whole explosive in the microphone, because less than a year before that, we had a real world example of 1,500 of these devices detonated at the same time, sold to a group of people that were really highly suspicious of the devices being loaded with something. They ran them through airport scanners. They had experts look at them. So, to get that sort of technology in Charlie's microphone would be very easy. He doesn't have it most of the time. He only puts it on for the event, and then someone else puts it on him. He doesn't see it any of the other time. So it was like a target of opportunity that offered all the technology that you would need to remote trigger it, to have it perfectly synced with a rifle shot, which, like, to your point, they can't just blow a mic up on Charlie's chest, because everyone immediately would be like, hey, we know what this looks like. This sounds a lot like that.
Yeah.
So you have to have a patsy, you have to have a rifle shot, and it needs to look convincing enough that it could pass as, a rifle shot. So, in my mind, immediately I knew that they never intended on the neck wound. The neck wound had to be just a freak occurrence. And what they were really going for was the shirt moving and Charlie falling out of the chair and them saying Charlie got shot in his chest.
So you think the neck wound is an accident?
Absolutely. And if you look at the order operations, if you look at all the energetic movement of the event, the neck wound is like 4th or 5th order. Like, it makes no sense for it to be the root cause of the movement or the energy that we saw.
You don't see anything in his neck. You don't see a square patch there. You don't see anything visible there in his neck prior or after.
No. I mean, you couldn't have a worse event to try to fake with prosthetics or squibs than what they did. Charlie came he strolled out of the SUV.
It is cameras easy to do, though. It is easy to do.
Cameras all around him. And then he goes out and tosses his hats around. His shirt's being pulled up. He's in the sunshine, high contrast, people, HD cameras, taking pictures of him everywhere. It was just putting yourself under immense pressure to try to pull that sort of thing off. Like the amount of opportunity of failure for you to fake that sort of thing. Could they do it? Absolutely. Would you want to risk a high profile event like that using, Hollywood technology? When they do that in a Hollywood screen, it's a fixed portion. They know a fixed angle. They know what the audience is going to see. They know what they're not going to see. So, it's a very controlled environment. This was a completely uncontrolled environment.
And Charlie had a twitch, by the way. Like, he would, like, if you watch him on his podcast, he would talk, and he would do that with his neck.
Yeah.
Get a little tick. Yeah.
And a lot of people thought the Hollywood makeup artist or stunt person was really Butch Hibbs.
No, I don't think it was him.
I'm just saying, I've talked to some people that are like, oh, there was this Hollywood makeup artist there. And when they show me who they're referring to, I'm like, that's Butch Hibbs. It's Jack Hibbs' brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a thought that I think a lot of people had earlier on. And it's just because, what's his name? Mike McCash or something. He's a well-known guy who does special effects videos, and he does have a big, thick beard, but he looks a little bit different than Butch.
Yeah, you could totally tell that's Butch. Yeah. They do look alike, though.
I did want to ask Jon a question. So you said without naming somebody, you believe, I guess, it was a member of, allegedly, the AV team who brought the mic that day, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Why would you have anything out of the ordinary, right? It would be business as usual. So he didn't have to know anything about it. He's just the person that puts the mic on him. Like, he's not in possession of the mic all the time. Like, there's no chain of custody with this microphone. They fly with these microphones. It could have been someone at the airport that swapped it out. Like, it doesn't have to be a nefarious party on his part. He put the microphone on him but it wasn't on him in some special way. It was a little weird the way to put him on him that day. But in all reality, they could have put that microphone anywhere on his chest and it would have accomplished the same exact goal that they were attending, assuming that this is what, you know, the goal of the event was. It would have done the same thing. It would have been fatal no matter where they put it on it. I mean, they're going to put it on his upper chest somewhere, face towards his face, right? So the microphone can pick up his voice, and anywhere in that area it would have been fatal. So the goal is accomplished. And then as long as the rifle shot goes off, you have your cover for the event. So, you know, it's a low probability of failure. I'm sure they tested the device, you know, 100 times, and they just never foresaw that the shrapnel would launch in a direction that would be able to impact his neck. And you know, we have tangibles on that too. It's not like this is just a wild theory that I have. Like, I've been able to measure the device that caused his shirt to bulge, and its dimension mapped to the pixels of the microphone clasp, which we know the size of the microphone clasp, right? We have the dimensions of the manufacturer. We know the dimensions of the circuit board because it fits inside the mic. So when the bulge on his shirt that's raising his collar up is visible at the same time as the clasp is, so I can map the pixels of the clasp and get a millimeter to pixel ratio, and then map the size of the circuit board underneath his shirt. And it's the same size. So, you know, the square bulge that raises his shirt up is the exact same size of the circuit board. And if you can see, the circuit board has a blue cast on it. It's a blue solder. It's a blue solder mask, basically. And I've been able to pick up, it's a 3x blue shift in the area where it peeks out of his shirt, because it's against his flesh. His flesh is very warm colored. So it's very easy. You're just looking at RGB, right? It's the pixels are showing you the color it is, and you analyze that and you can see the blue shift there. So we have the size, we have the color, we have the trajectory of if you look at the shirt as it wrinkles, right, you can see, like, it kind of gives you the idea of the area that it's coming from by the way the shirt tensions, right? You can see the crease, and then you watch frame by frame, the microphone clasp is moving in the similar trajectory. So, you know, if hypothetically, if the case did fail and it did launch the circuit board and the battery, and in that area, you would expect the case to have some of that trajectory left in it, right? And you kind of see that. You see the case following that trajectory, but it lags behind it. And then most importantly, you have to have where the rest of the case go, because, you know, this is a huge case that's underneath his shirt. And we see it the whole event. We see it, the bulge, right? We see the full bulge of the case under his shirt. As soon as we see the necklace scope over his neck, we don't see the full bulge anymore. We just see a portion of it left underneath there. You can see from Candace's view when he's falling over the side. You can see from all the other views, there's only a portion of it left. And the only portion that's left of the microphone is the clip portion. You see how it's barely attached. So this microphone and this clip stays attached. The whole case suffers a failure. So the case is fragmented. So we don't see the bulge of the whole 44 by 44 millimeter case under his shirt after the necklace burst off, because the case isn't there anymore, which again lends itself to the idea that whatever causes the case to fail sends the shrapnel across his shirt, causes the rectangle bulge in his collar, causes the blue shift in the collar, and then causes the battery, which is about the same size of the magnetic clasp, to strike his neck, which is about the size of the wound that you see, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's
like, I do have a question
similar
here. So, like, so this is obviously a complicated thing to design, right? And to pull off. So here's, I guess, a problem that I have is that when it detonated, it completely screwed up. So I guess for me is, like, if this was professionally designed, why didn't it come off professionally performed? Because obviously
it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Then how did we? So I guess my question would be, if it did exactly what it was designed to do, how did we get a random piece into his neck? Like,
because it's a chance. If you look at the pagers of the walkie-talkies, there's shrapnel from it, right? You can't put a
but
high
it was
explosive.
designed to be that way, right? Like, it wasn't designed
I
to
know,
be
but
discreet.
you never know. You can't tell where the shrapnel's going to go. The shrapnel could go anywhere. And let's say, for instance, let's say that this happened and we didn't get the neck wound and he was shot in his chest. Would anyone question his microphone getting, fragmented if he was shot in his chest? I wouldn't. He got
Well,
shot in his chest with
probably not.
a 30
Like,
06 is a
especially-
powerful rifle. I imagine it would have
Absolutely.
enough power to blow that microphone into pieces. So, you know, again, if you don't have the neck wound, all the secondary events around the microphone are easily explained away. Like, you don't have to go out of your way to explain why the microphone ends up in fragments if it gets shot in the chest with 30-06. The issue is that
Yeah.
when the neck wound appears, they have to explain 2 wounds with 1 shot. And do they explain the wound that we didn't see that's underneath his shirt, or do they explain the wound that everyone saw that was clear to see, you know, that was gruesome? They had to make a choice. They had to explain one wound or the other. And we can only speculate on the injuries that Charlie had, whether he had a broken neck or anything. We don't know. There's been no autopsy
No.
report. It's
And I
all
don't
hearsay.
think we will ever find out. either.
Everything is hearsay as far as what happens at the hospital. So we can
Yeah.
only assume that we only know what we saw. And considering that they would know that they're only going to release what we saw, they had to make a narrative that explains what we saw. And I feel like that is the pivot towards the 30-06 shot to the neck. Even though it makes no sense and no one believes it, they have to roll with that because it's the only narrative that explains the event that we saw. And they know that
Yeah.
we'll never know about any of the other injuries that Charlie, occurred during the event. And so all they have to do is just explain the thing that they can't explain away, which is the thing that we saw, that everyone, you know, there's 6 cameras that saw it clearly. Like, you can't explain that away. So you have to roll with a 30-06 shot to the neck. And then that leaves the microphone and everything else out in the wind. The necklace, the microphone, like, none of that can be explained by a shot in the neck. So they just won't explain it at all. It's just a simple, it's a simple fix to the issue. Just don't explain it and allow people to speculate.
I thought it was really interesting when you were on with Jon Bray and Valhalla that the detonation mechanism was sound.
Yeah. Well, to me, like, immediately, I thought you can't have a human do it because a human's reaction time is like 300 milliseconds. They won't be able to do it in time. Like, and the detonation device on the pagers and the walkie-talkies were so complicated, way more complicated than the acoustic trigger. But what really sold me on the idea is when I started to look at the circuitry of the Rode Pro. It has an ARM processor in it that has millisecond timing in it because it's made to sync the audio with the camera. And so it has the processor already in it. Like, all it would take is a slight modification of the firmware, and you can have the microphone that's already in it, use the processor that's already in it to send a signal to a detonator. And the time that would take is about 5 milliseconds. It's a 5 millisecond delay. And that's the exact delay that I've been able to pick up from the analysis of the videos between the mock cone passing and the detonation from under the tent, which is a completely different frequency. It's detected by 6 cameras, and it comes from the tent. And you can't, the multiple frequencies make it really hard to explain this event with a single rifle shot that impacts Charlie, because we have a high energy mock cone that passes by, and then 5 milliseconds later we have a high energy frequency event happen under the tent, and then we have the muzzle blast arrive. And so it's like, when you add all these factors together from multiple cameras, so you can rule out that it's just a artifact. You know, it's a tangible thing because multiple cameras from multiple, people that had nothing to do with each other, just their recording, they all picked it up. And so, the last piece that I was really needing was a camera that was further away, so I could get that time delay of that detonation from the tent arriving to it. And it could give me the math that I needed, because, I like tangibles, and sound's a tangible. It travels at, the temperature and elevation.
Certain rates. Yeah.
You know what speed the sound was traveling. So you can use that to calculate distances really precisely. And so getting that camera audio from the UVU camera gave me exactly what I needed to really dial in the fact that there was a detonation event underneath the tent. What it is, I can only speculate what it is, but I know for sure it can't be argued that there's a mock cone that passed by. 5 milliseconds later, a detonation under the tent happened, and then we have the muzzle blast arrived. And the muzzle blast is, measured from all the cameras, it's around 120 to 127 meters away, which doesn't line up exactly what we're told either. So it's like, we know there was a shot taken. We know that it was of a distance away from an elevation, but what doesn't match with the official narrative is that the detonation frequency that comes from underneath the tent, like it just nothing that they tell us can explain that. But when you take that data and you look at the video of the shirt movement, you know, that precedes the neck wound, then it becomes a lot clearer, because the other thing that preceded the neck wound was the mock cone passing by and the detonation frequency. So you add all these tangibles together and you get a better idea of using, you know, the real world kind of, you know, multi-camera data that we have. You can piece
And a lot of
together
my
what happened.
viewers would really love if you can make it more simplistic. I don't know if you can maybe do a video, because like a lot of my viewers are like, I don't know what he's talking about. So I
That's
don't know
why
if it's possible for you to make a video where it's more simplistic for others to understand what you're saying, because a lot of the viewers out here have no idea what you're talking about. Just
Well,
saying, like,
everything makes a
Just-
sound, right? We have a video.
right.
We have video, which is basically like a bunch of still pictures, and then you have audio, which is taking audio at a much higher rate, right? It's taken like, you know, pictures are every 30 milliseconds if it's the 30 frames per second. Audio is like you're getting like 7 milliseconds in between on the porous audio.
Right.
So the audio data is a lot more clarity on energy, and energy, whether it's something moving or energy being displaced, or be it gas or explosion or what have you, it leaves a signature, and you can take that
So you
signature.
don't see the energy coming more down from his stomach area and his, because he's holding that mic. And what I noticed, what a lot of people have said, he usually drops that microphone on the table, right? When he talks, he lifts it up and he drops it on the table and he lets go of it. At that particular time, when he picked up that mic, just before he was about to drop it, that's when that happened. He didn't let go of that mic. So he was holding on, he was about to drop it, and he held on to that mic, and he did not let go of that microphone.
They told him to stop putting the mic down because he was getting feedback. They were having feedback when he was
Yeah,
sitting
they
on
came
the
in-
Charlie always does that. If you watch his other Prove Me Wrongs, he goes da 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 da, and he puts the mic down. Da 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 da.
Yeah,
know he was getting
what I'm
feedback.
saying is Dan Flood and the AV guys, they were working on feedback that day. They were getting feedback really bad from his microphone, and they told him to stop setting it on the table for whatever reason. When he was setting it on the table, it was getting feedback from the PA speakers. And so they told him to keep the mic, to not put the microphone down. They told him to keep it in his hand.
I know why he was getting the feedback. It was not from any of those PA speakers that was around the crowd. So with every kind of event like this, when you have two people talking back and forth, you got to be able to hear each other. Otherwise, you can't have a conversation. So the speaker could always hear through the PA speakers. So Allie found a picture after the fact that the table flipped up and there was a monitor wedge underneath. And that's how Charlie was hearing the speakers. So I think that microphone on the table was getting too close to that speaker, causing the feedback.
The monitor.
So the weird thing is like he'd move it only 1 foot away and it would clear up. And I thought that was a little weird, but
And Anthony West would go underneath the table every now and then to check.
And he was adjusting the speaker down there. And I think what those speakers do have volume controls on it. So maybe that's what they were battling. He was dialing down the volume on the speaker while they were trying to get Charlie to move it away because they
kept saying, I can't hear. He couldn't hear Hunter.
Yeah, and they probably because they were dialing down that speaker too.
Yeah,
right. To help with the feedback, right?
They dial down on all their gear.
So,
but what I want to ask you, can I ask Jon Bray a question?
Let me tell you real quick. Yeah, just a sec. Exploding Mic Theory Examined on Valhalla. John does a really good job of breaking that down. That was the big part of the video that I showed at the beginning, but it's called Exploding Mic Theory Examined. And it's a great job. And I want to find out what led you to, did you always think it was an acoustic detonation, or how did you get to that part?
Well, actually, what led me to that was just the, after I determined that the epicenter of the energy was from around the microphone, I had to figure out how the microphone would be triggered in sync with the sound of the rifle. And through quick research, realized a human couldn't do it reliably, right? It would be off time. Even the person shooting the rifle, it would be difficult for him to it wouldn't be timed just right. The only way that it could consistently be timed perfectly, which was kind of like the whole key to the whole event, was that the explosion of the microphone needed to be timed perfectly with the arrival of the sound of the bullet. That way, visually, and they know people are recording it. They know it's live stream. There are eyewitnesses everywhere. It needed to be time perfect. And the only way you could really accomplish that was to use the sound of the projectile as the trigger. And then I researched if the microphone was capable of doing it. And once I identified that type of microphone that he had, the main difference between the wireless, the Rode Go and the Rode Pro is that processor. So when I figured out the processor had the millisecond timing, that it had a processor already in it, like it takes no, extra chip or anything in it. Like everything they needed to pull off an acoustic trigger was already in that microphone. So it just made sense to me that, it's a lot less complicated than what we saw, less than a year before with the pagers and the walkie-talkies. So that's what led it to me. And then as I started to get in the audio side of it, I had a very difficult time finding the acoustic signature of the detonation. And Lookout Charlie on YouTube did a video in October where he identified these key frequencies, and then he did kind of a side-by-side of the recordings from the pagers. And I was able to take those recordings from the pagers and then other recordings where people were basically testing the same similar explosive and run them side by side. And that gave me the key frequencies to look for. And basically that N wave, that Mach cone, was the perfect means to hide it because it causes the microphones to clip because it's so loud. Like a microphone distorts when it hears something really loud for about 5 to 7 milliseconds. It has a period where it takes it a time to recover, where you just get a lot of distortion. So it was the perfect means to hide any audio signature of a detonation because every microphone that was recording the event is going to be distorting for those milliseconds afterwards that the detonation was going to be going off. So it's going to be really difficult for anyone to pick it up and pick it out and say, hey, here's a detonation that's clearly different than this Mach cone, because the cameras are all kind of in recovery mode at that point. But when I got the key frequency, I was able to see where the peaks differ, and they have a different onset. The onset time is different because a Mach cone is from, like, you see the pictures of like a jet going supersonic and it leaves like this triangle cloud off the front of it. Well, that's the sound that happens from a supersonic projectile as it passes by. It's the sound is coming from the tip of that bullet basically passing by you. So it's not only is it measurable, but it's very localized. And so it arrives at the different cameras at different times. So you can kind of like look at the audio sync together and you can trace it back to its source as it passes each camera. And you look at the distance it took for it to travel to get to the next camera. It gives you the idea, the speed of the projectile and the area that it came from. And so when I realized that, that peak was within the 5 millisecond window that the processor could detonate, then it all came together. Then I was able to go to all the cameras and pick it out once I knew the exact frequency and the time delay from the Mach cone passing the cameras closest to Charlie. It became really easy for me to find it. And this latest, the UVU video, is the best because it's closest to the rifle shot and the furthest from the tent. So it has the largest amount of separation between the bullet sound and the detonation sound. And so it's been solid gold, and it's professional audio. It's not, compressed audio. So it's given me the best audio of the detonation. And so it's been a real game changer. The video, not so much, but the audio from it's been really, really valuable.
Yeah, the video is pretty much useless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You said something about testing ballistics. Could they have done that at Fort Huachuca?
Yeah, that's where, I mean, if this was the case, right? This allegedly, if this was the case, yeah, I've talked to Mitch Snow. He gave me a lot of valuable information. He has a different outlook on it. I'm still testing the things that he kind of led me down. But that's the type of things that they do there. And, these type of devices and these type of micro shaped charges, they're not theoretical. Like, we have contracts for people.
We'll look at accurate energetic systems.
Right, exactly. And also the exact size that would be needed to fit in the microphone case. That's what they're manufacturing. Everyone's chasing this micro shaped charge to put on drones. They need small light explosives to put on these drones so they can go send a $60 drone out and blow up $1 million tank. You know, it's the next arms race is not big exotic missiles. It's small micro charges that can be delivered in small, you know, UAV type packages, and it's changing the face of warfare. So the amount of data and research going into small micro shaped charges right now is just unreal. It's the next arms race, and you know it's readily available. The contracts are there. It's not something that you know, the explosives are available. It's multiple manufacturers. It would be really easy for people to procure and deploy this type of weapon and not have anyone really have receipts for it, because there's so much of it being bought and researched that it would just get lost in the weeds.
Can I ask a
Well,
question?
Accurate Energetic Systems, they started a contract with the Department of Defense on May 1st, 2025, and it ended on August 25th, 2025 for a small explosive device that would fit in this type of microphone. And if you remember, Brian Harpel said on Sean Ryan's show that they started planning for the UVU event on August 24th.
Yeah.
And then Baron Coleman found a flight from Heber City, Utah to Tennessee on August 25th. And Butch Hibbs, not saying he's involved, I'm just saying that he does live in Heber City, Utah, and there was a flight that went to Tennessee on that day. And there is a theory that maybe he brought the microphone with him because he did have that size of device in his shirt on that day. And so I just think that's a pretty interesting theory.
I did a whole
What are your
thing on
thoughts?
Butch Hibbs and Charles. I did a whole thing on Butch Hibbs and Charles Highwalk and all that stuff. So yeah, I think he's very suspicious. Don't want to say anything either. But I do have a question for Jon. Because I did find a video early on with Mikey McCoy and Megan Kelly. That was September 18th. And they were obviously talking about what happened. And Megan Kelly looked at Mikey and said, "So I hear Charlie was wearing a bulletproof vest that day." And he didn't go, "No, no, no, no." He goes, "Mm-hmm." She goes, "I can't believe it. Like all these things, like all these extra precautions that they had." So I just want to ask you, because me and Chris have looked up all types of, like, you can buy
Other kinds of armor.
you can buy tank tops that are bulletproof vest, or you can buy t-shirts. I'm just wondering, because I have some pictures. It looks weird. His back looks weird. Even the way he's sitting looks weird. A lot of people have been saying that. We have not confirmed if he was wearing anything really under his shirt. I know you can see the nipples, but you can buy things that mimic nipples as well. I'm just wondering if the FBI didn't say he was wearing one and TPUSA didn't say, but Megan Kelly actually asked him and he didn't deny it. I want to know how you know he wasn't wearing anything under that shirt.
Well, I've cleaned over 600,000 bulletproof vests for the Army. I developed their cleaning program. Like, I've tested with, you know, the labs, ballistic testing afterwards. Like, I know textile soft armor, what it can and can't do, and you can't conceal. You know, you would have to have effective armor. You're going to need at least 16 layers of woven fabric. So, you know, taking that into account, 16 layers of woven fabric, then a carrier to hold the vest panel in place. And so you're looking at least 20 layers of fabric.
Oh, I'm talking about something thinner. I'm not talking about anything like really heavy duty.
Well,
I'm talking about like,
well, I'm telling you the tangibles of what's available on the market.
yeah.
The thinnest, they call them executive vests, and they're made to be concealed. They're at least 20 layers of woven fabric.
Right.
Like a military vest is 60 layers of woven fabric. So they've concealed them down by quite a bit, but there's still a lot of bulk there, and you just don't see it. It's just not there. Again, it's along the lines of the prosthetic, or, you know, the squib. We have so many angles of Charlie before the event. his shirt blowing in the wind, with his back stretched over the shirt, high contrast sun shining on it. It's just a jersey knit cotton shirt. Like if they were trying to conceal a bulletproof vest, they would put a different shirt on them. They would put layers of shirt, a button-up shirt, an Oxford, something that's a little, less likely to show every outline on his back. And I say this thinking that he had a vest on that day. That was my initial impression, that he got shot in his bulletproof vest. So, I've been down that rabbit hole. I looked at every picture.
So you think he had nothing under his shirt at all? Nothing? Not even a patch, nothing.
I even thought he had a rash guard on at first, but the more I looked and the more pictures I saw, the more quality media that came out after the fact, when you start to get those high definition stills of him in the sun, like he didn't have anything on but the jersey knit Carhartt shirt on that day.
Because the one thing that we did found was bulletproof shirts, and that like t-shirts, and even just with the shirt, like you can notice it a little bit, but as the guy was walking around, it was like, okay, well, maybe kind of, not really. Like it looked like you could kind of sell it, but I kind of agree, I guess, that he would probably had to have had maybe some kind of button up or something.
Yeah, because I talked about that with Baron. Like on his right side, it looked like he was wearing something. So it's not, obviously I can't 1000% say.
Yeah, and
He
multiple
had it,
angles.
He had it on.
There's so many
but-
times I thought I saw something, but then I get another angle of video and it just becomes clear. Like your brain will trick you when you look at something in 2 dimensions, but when you get another angle, like it usually makes it clear. That's why I don't make any conclusions about anything till I get a few angles on it, because there's been so many things that I thought I saw something and then I get a second angle and it's just a nothing burger. It's just so.
Yeah.
I always try to get at least a few, even if they're close together, another set of eyes on it, and it makes all the difference. Yeah, and the audio is the same way. Just looking at one set of audio, like you can see whatever you want. Yeah, you look at multiple. You look at multiple sets, and then they'll really give you a better idea of what you're seeing.
So I did put some pictures on stage. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say,
I hear it buzzing again in my mic.
It
Sounds
might
like a
be
horn.
my microphone. There's a car alarm going off
There's a car
outside.
alarm.
And I'm like, dude, can they
that's
hear
funny.
that? It won't stop.
I
I'm so
I
sorry.
thought it was my mic. I go, what?
We thought it was us. We thought it was us.
No, it's
Okay,
just
that's funny.
one of my neighbors.
I did have one question for Jon. So, okay, so the shot was supposed to, like, so the exploding mic was supposed to simulate a gunshot to the chest, right?
Well
So
enough.
Well enough. So my thing is, with how the shape charge is designed, right, to cauterize the wound and to leave a clean sort of surface, how would that have made everybody believe that he was shot in the chest with a 30-06? Because that would have left, like, a big red mark on his chest, ideally, right? Like if you blow somebody away in the chest with a 30-06, right?
The entry wound would be similar. The exit wound would be a lot different. But again, like they know that they're not going to release a full autopsy report.
Heck yeah. I think we all know that. We ain't getting that.
Think about how easy it would be to use ambiguous language in an autopsy report of a wound, a circular wound that penetrates deeply. They'll describe the wound channel. They'll describe the circular wound, and that would be more than enough for most people to believe it. The problem is that we saw what the wound was. We saw where the wound was, and that's why they're in trouble now. Like it could have been much easier if it was underneath that shirt and we're just speculating what it looked
And then
like.
they could make it up.
Yeah.
We just have to trust what the autopsy says. And, they cherry picked the hospital. You best believe that they had everyone in place at, every step of the way to ensure. And when things go wrong, what do? You call in the big guns, and you have the vice president showing up to make sure, everything gets cleaned up right. Because there's no way to wrap something up tight than to get the vice president involved. We'll never know anything about what happened at that hospital because he was there.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah, what was interesting, I sent you guys a link in the chat to that video for Trigger Smart. But what was interesting that you had said in that too is It's really easy for the big wigs, for the FBI to come in and say, it looks like this happened, right? Like, you know, how you said that, and like they're saying, they're telling you what to say without telling you what to say. They're just saying it and looking you in the eye, and you know what they mean when they're like, and it did this. Yes, yes, you think that?
Yeah, it's the pressure of I've worked with, I've been in the procurement of these vests. Basically, it was embezzlement that they were caught doing, and they came to us to try to solve it. And they more or less told us in a lot of different ways of what we needed to do and what we needed to say and what we could say about it. And they told us without telling us that it would be our ruin if we didn't do exactly what they were saying. Like people in power that have influence, they have a way of letting you know that power will crush you if you go against it. And that's just anybody at the hospital would experience that. Like they know they can never talk about this again. It would just be the end of it. They would lose everything. Yeah. Worst case, you'll just have child porn on your computer and they'll come and arrest you and kick in your door. You know what I mean? Like
don't say that word.
the level of destruction that they can enact on you nowadays with all this digital information, and your computers being connected to the internet all the time. Like there's nobody's safe from blackmail or extortion anymore. So everyone's aware of that. Everyone's seen that happen. So when you're put in that situation, you have to yield to the power. There's nothing you can do. If you have something to lose, you have to yield to it. So.
Yeah.
I got a random question for everybody. I figured it's a kind of a good time to ask, and I just kind of want to know what everybody thinks. So if you could have one piece of evidence that has been not released to the public, right? What piece of evidence would you want the government to release and why? And I wouldn't mind knowing what everybody sort of thinks would be a key piece of evidence that would help us right now solve this case, or at least give us a lot more answers. I know what what I would want. But I was curious to what the rest of the panel would think would be important. Like John, if you could get any piece of evidence given to you, like tomorrow at your house, what piece of evidence would you want from the government?
That camera that was in front of Charlie, I guess it was at his 4 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, we've talked about
the one that Jordan Wilson was.
Yes, the female camera operator, Jordan Wilson's her last name.
Yep, Jordan Wilson.
That's a key piece of evidence.
That's the angle that we have angles from all around the event. That's the angle we don't have, and that quality of the video and the quality of that audio would be it would be really hard to dispute what you found in it.
That would be a camera to steal.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like really.
Brandi, what would be your choice if you had to pick one piece of evidence?
Hard one.
I think I would want Charlie's cell phone, like nothing deleted, just so I could see all of his text messages that he sent and received to maybe even like a month leading up to his assassination, because I think that would explain a lot of things.
Or even,
especially with Erica, with the security team, with his stance on the country that cannot be named. I think that'd be very, very interesting and helpful to see.
I agree. That would be a good piece of evidence. Teresa, what about you? What would be the piece of evidence that you would want to see if you could get anything from the government right now?
His body.
Yeah.
His body.
Yeah.
I would, I don't know if they had him cremated. There's not even a death certificate that we know of. And I would like to see his body exhumed. Like
he allegedly had a secret funeral, but
yeah. And they didn't say like where he's buried or anything, that if he is even, buried. I would, if this is what we think it is, my guess is they'd have him cremated because they wouldn't want to have to exhume that body.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want to have to show that.
That's a good piece of evidence to want.
What about you, Allie?
Man.
What piece of evidence would
There's
you ask
so
for?
much.
Well, you got to
There's
just pick one. So
just one.
one piece of evidence that you could get dropped off of your house tomorrow. What would you want it to be?
Well, the evidence is already paved over. So, the audio equipment.
Like what specifically?
I want to know where it is. Where did they put it?
Like just all the gear from the show in
Yeah, I
general?
want to know where all the gear is.
So you
That's
would,
been bothering me.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if it is evidence, right? Like obviously if the microphone exploded, we don't have that. Actually, maybe the SUV too. I have so many things in my mind
Well,
right
just
now.
one. Just pick one.
one.
You only get one. Everybody else only got one. You only get one.
Yeah. I would want that. I would want all that audio equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's sort of similar to what I was thinking.
Really?
So like I was thinking about what Jon said about wanting that camera, but then I changed my mind. If I could choose, I'd want the audio from the Rode mic pinned to Charlie, because that would answer almost a lot of questions, similar to what everybody here has said. These are important items, but that would prove whether he was hit with an explosive or a charge or anything like that. That would completely either support that like 1,000%, or it would dead it just as
Yeah.
quickly, and we would
Yeah.
know that, you know what I mean. Either or, we would know. Okay, well, he was then allegedly shot, just not from there and not by Tyler. Or it'd be like, yeah, that mic cut out the second we heard the crack, so that is sus as heck, because
Yeah.
we didn't hear the security, the fans, like all of that in the recording. So that would be what
Yeah.
I would pick, would be that audio, because I believe that would be very telling.
I didn't know that was your answer.
You didn't
And,
know?
you know, with the van and all that shrapnel, so would there be, you know, we saw the shrapnel, or it looks like the plastic shrapnel in the van. I think, I don't know if it was you, Jon, who had pointed it out on the ground, different pieces, or if I'm getting my videos mixed up. But with the amount of what it looks like was in the van, do you think how do you think that lines up, the amount of shrapnel that we see with that exploding mic? Would there be that much?
Yeah, because you have the whole face. So that's the face of the microphone right there. So I purchased this off eBay. It's actually black tempered glass with a beveled edge. You can see the beveled edge shining there. And
Yeah.
that beveled edge you can see in the pictures also, where there's edge pieces on the ground in the SUV, and you can see that when they use the flash photography, you can see that beveled edge. So that's a really unique glass in that it's solid black. They don't use black glass on cell phones because they sell cell phones in different colors. So when you see a cell phone color, it's a back plate and clear glass over the top of it. And then that beveled edge is a clear giveaway. Like it has a certain dimension to it, and it's the same exact dimension as that. And if you break that whole face, that's a 44 millimeter by 44 millimeter, you shatter that, have it captured in a jersey knit shirt, and spread it around an SUV. That's about how much you would see in the bottom of it. You know, it's not a tremendous amount.
It's in the rear though. I only saw the shrapnel in the rear, and then we got the footage from.
It's in between the
Candace.
captain. The biggest piece is in between the captain seats, and the captain seats are, if you look, the rails of those captain seats are the pictures of where the shrapnel is. And so when you see that picture of what it looks like in the back, it is in front of the back seat, but those rails that you're seeing are literally the captain seats at the middle seat where they had his body stretched across. So the great majority of the fragmentation is in between the two captain seats, which would be where his midsection would be. They pulled him across the two captain sheets, which would be the bottom of his shirt.
Off or put it in their pocket or whatnot. You're saying it was still attached to Charlie when they were carrying him?
What the remaining
Yeah.
portion of the clip and the magnet was still attached, but the fragmentation would have been spread out
just
through his shirt.
In his shirt?
Have you ever been in a car wreck? Like you get the broken glass all over you, that tempered
Yeah.
glass that has a sharp edges, and especially jersey knit shirts, it catches in it and it holds itself. And the way they had his shirt bunched up when they carried him away, it would have been like a slinky, like holding all that glass in there. And then they get him in the SUV, they stretch him out, and they start, you know, supposedly doing CPR or not doing CPR, depending on who you listen to. But, you know, all that agitation is going to break the glass loose from his shirt. Or, you know, they even claim they cut the shirt loose from him at some point. Like all that glass is going to come loose as you agitate the shirt. And the shirt wasn't agitated that much from the point of it detonation and it fragmenting and him falling to the ground. they didn't really do a lot to them on the ground. They just kind of.
But we don't have the SUV now, right? I heard it was sold.
Yeah, it was supposedly it was cleaned up and sold on auction from the rental place. So
I
you
never
know,
heard
And
of
it
this
makes
kind of
sense
stuff
why
in
they
my
would pave over the crime scene so quickly, because there's
Right.
probably shrapnel on the ground, and also those explosive devices can leave a residue of cyclonite, I think, which
Yeah.
is really harming to like if students were to sit on the ground and get that on their skin, I think it can cause like seizures and even death. So I think that's why they had to pave over the crime scene so quickly.
Yeah, and you can't explain it away. It's a really rare chemical. It's not something that's naturally going to come about. Like, it has to be made in a lab. And most importantly is that every batch of PNT has a fingerprint. They have impurities in it, and you can track that back to the manufacturer. So the underwear bomber, the shoe bomber, they've been able to trace where these came from and who made them by the impurities in them. So, if you did have a production lot of this explosive and you knew that it was out in the wild and there's possibly some fallback that could come on you, you would need to get rid of all of it, because
Well, and let's not forget how accurate
yeah, I
energetic
have a-
systems
I have
that
a
plant
different theory
exploded.
on all that. Yeah.
Well,
I don't
the
think it's
plant
shrapnel
at
on the
Accurate
back.
Energetic Systems exploded exactly like a month later, and 16 people were killed.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes, I
in this
heard about that.
theory, which is just a theory, they got rid of the plant and the evidence and the people that maybe allegedly made it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any government contract. You have control lots. So, you have to go and test it before you deliver it. And then you have to hold samples of that test. So if they're having it out in the field and it doesn't perform, they can come and be like, hey, we need to test that lot. And so they would have had test lots of everything they had there. The only way they could get rid of that legitimately was to destroy them all. And so, not only were they able to hypothetically destroy all the control lots, but any witnesses that could have testified to the fact of what these devices were, how big they were, what they were capable of.
Mhm.
Would the construction company have to have worn special gear, or would they have been?
They should have, but I'll be willing
If they
to bet
knew.
they just
weren't
sent
wearing
them to
it.
the wind. Yeah, they just let them
Yeah.
take it, because what they're going to do, they'll be at the next construction job the next day. Like, they wouldn't have any suspicion to know it. Where's the grass grow? Like, who knows? They're not a forensic, investigators. They're there to do a job as fast as possible and get out. And the likelihood of them being able to go back and test anything that they had and find it would be really low. But the key was to get rid of the grass, because one piece of that fragment in the grass, someone could find and test and find the residue from it, like the necklace. Like, the necklace
Or the blood.
yeah, blood. It should be analyzed, right?
Yeah.
The necklace was close to the event, regardless of what the narrative you believe, and it should be analyzed. And instead, it's turned into a emotional, centerpiece of a grieving widow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Could
not
this
evidence,
type of
which is what it
charge
should
in
be.
that necklace?
It would
What's
be
that?
Possible?
it would be really difficult. The size of the necklace, and the most difficult thing that I have with the idea that the charge is in the necklace is that you have no means to detonate it. It would be a novel thing, right? Something that we've never seen before, something that we don't have any working examples of. So it would be not only difficult in that you have very limited space, but then you have the difficulty of figuring out how to detonate it, period, but then detonate it in perfect sync with the rifle shot. So it's like layers of complexity, layers of difficulty, which are all avoided by using the target opportunity of the microphone, which has a battery, a wireless connection, a microphone, a processor that can do millisecond timing, and enough space in the case to hide the charge that you need. So it would be making your job a lot more difficult than it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
See, I
Somebody-
almost wonder why. Did anybody see any of the dogs go through that area?
No.
Because I'm just wondering. These bomb dogs have been so great in this investigation. I guess they went through there and missed that too, right? Since they seem to miss everything else, they miss a smoking gun. Why not miss, a
Right.
detonation too?
Yeah, 'cause you can
Generally,
tell
bomb dogs have a lot more difficult time finding an explosive after it's detonated, because it's dispersed everywhere and all the chemicals are broken down. generally they're good and trained at finding concentrated sources of it, where it's going to be a lot more
That's
potent,
true.
a lot
Yeah.
more pure. But so, generally, like, the bomb dog is there to capture the bomb before it goes off. When a bomb goes off, you don't really need a dog to tell you that a bomb went off. Like, they're going to do chemical analysis at that point to try to, they're going to take it to a mass spec, and they're going to see what exactly the chemical compounds were, because they don't need to find it hidden. They know it was there, right?
Well, usually that's because bombs are big, right? So if a bomb goes off, it's like you just said, it's obvious a bomb went off.
Yeah.
But in this situation,
Well,
that's
even
the complete
smaller
opposite, right?
bombs, like if you look at the underwear bomber or anything like that, they don't find the bomb on the underwear bomber and then bring a bomb dog to say it's a bomb. No, they take it to a lab and they test it, and they tell you exactly what the compounds are in it. Like, at that point, you have the material you want to test. The dog finds the material that's hidden that you don't know is there. So it's like a different purpose. You know what I mean?
Okay,
that's
so
true.
Terry SP asked, can you ask Jon if it's possible that Brian Harpole was arming the device with a two-phase action, right pocket turn on a left armpit switch held in to allow it to be triggered by the gunshot from the undisclosed rooftop?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. The arming is a very, it could be a lot more discreet than that. So yeah, he could have, but the timing of a lot of the, it's depending on like a single frame of movement. But when you look at the larger picture of like what was going on that day, everyone has movements like that you could say like, hey, look, he's arming something there, or he's tugging his sleeve. He could be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you could go down a whole rabbit hole of who's arming what. And in reality, it's not really a key event in it.
Well, plus you can't really prove any of that either.
Yeah, it's just speculation. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a lot of, I guess, supporting things you can prove the point to in order to be able to speculate that.
And you want correlation. You don't want a single
Yes.
action. You want an
Yes.
action and another action somewhere that times perfectly. Then you're building something at that point. You have multiple courses of actions and things that you can measure. Now you're getting something more tangible than just a single, frame or a few frames of someone twisting something in their pocket. Me personally, I wouldn't depend on Harpole to do anything.
No.
Exactly. I
I
wouldn't
think we
either.
already debunked it, but
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
Harpole personally is a textbook fall guy. Like go look up what a fall guy is in an assassination, and then compare it to everything Harpole's done and said. Just do it yourself. Don't take my word for it, but he's a textbook fall guy. Like you never send a guy out who actually did it to take a public lashing by millions of people publicly, and you just don't do that. You put out somebody, a scapegoat, somebody to take the heat off the people who actually did it. You never send the actual guy out there. What if the public shaming breaks him and he confesses to somebody? Like you never
Right.
risk that. You never risk
Do you
that.
think
in
Rick
my
Cutler's a fall guy too?
I think he's
No.
involved in some way.
He's not
The
a fall
shoulder guy.
but
Yeah, the palm guy.
He didn't shoot anybody, that's for sure. The timing's off. But he
does have something in his hand.
He has-
two things.
he's got a high level experience. He's one of the more experienced people on the team. He did not shoot anybody. But we found a weird video, and you guys may have seen it, of him using some kind of
I put it up
weird-
on stage.
weird device. Well, not even that one, the rangefinder device. Like there's one point where he's standing and he turns to his right and he goes like this. And it's like it was the weirdest.
That's what he's holding. It's like it's a
No, it's two things.
It's two different
two
ones?
different things. So
Okay.
everybody's seen the strap that he has on his
Yeah.
hand, right? And that could be like hand motion, something
Yeah.
for something that we can't prove at the moment.
Yeah.
But he does this other thing where he's standing, and it's a shot from behind. I guess it would be behind to his right. And he turns, and he's got something in his hand, and he goes like this
Yes.
very quickly, almost.
It's a
Like-
new thing, right? Someone just sent us.
Somebody did send it to us, but it reminds me if you were trying to take a range on something, like if you're range finding something, right? You hold it
Mhm.
up, you
Yeah,
take
like
a
a
range, you
hunter.
put it down. But
Mhm.
again, that doesn't really make sense. So like if he was doing that, then he would be doing it because I think allegedly he'd be doing that for a shooter, right? Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't need to be trying to find range of something unless you were
Yeah.
doing it for a shooter. But we know that nothing came from behind him. We know that Tyler didn't shoot, right? And even so we know that didn't happen. So then what is he trying to look to his right for?
Well,
Was he
there's
looking at somebody else?
the
We
guy
don't
with
know.
the tan hat did come up to him and talk to him at that one point, right? And then he left and he went up that way. And that's when, like a couple seconds later, I have the video of this. He does this and he goes like that.
Weird.
So is that tan guy with the hat up there, and are they correlating something? I don't know. This is all speculation again. But I do see that thing in his hand. Everybody's trying to figure out what it is. It does look like a some kind of gesture control of some sort, and we're trying to figure out what would he use that for.
And Rick Cutler has training in what's a way to put it? Not fake scenarios, but training in realistic environment scenarios that aren't real. So
Yeah.
he's good at, like, part of his specialty is to organize stuff like that for training. And then I look at, well, what the heck is this that we're in? It's basically a scenario that could, well, allegedly an orchestrated scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would probably, if that's what it was happening, like we got a lot of actors and they wanted to employ misdirection, like make somebody think it's a shot and then they blow them up, or make somebody think it's a shot and then they zap them. Whatever it is, you would probably want somebody with that kind of expertise, dead center, front and center, with the best viewpoint of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on things. So we definitely don't think he like tapped anybody. That
The
like
timing's off.
The
I think
timing's off. It's off by about a second and a half or 2 seconds. Like John, I'm pretty sure you've watched that 100 times too, and you know
Yeah.
it's a couple seconds behind, right?
Yeah.
So you know
He's doing
he
something.
does this. That could be something, but this motion, that's nothing. That's nothing. So like it would have to be just this would have to do something if he was going to be doing something,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I've watched you, John, and I've appreciated how you've been able to evolve as you get more information. Your theory has evolved. You want to take us through the evolution and the different things that have changed you and where you are? It changed that theory or improved it and made it more precise in where you are with it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, like I started off thinking he had a vest on. It took me like 4 hours to realize he didn't have a vest on. And then I created that pixel flow map where, you know, it basically maps the movement of pixels in between each frame. And so running the multiple cameras from the front angles, I was able to determine that area around his microphone was kind of like the peak movement, the first area of movement. And that led me to the conclusion that like the microphone had to have something to do with it because the energy went on. And so then I just kept developing the code to make the code more precise, to give me more resolution of the movement of his shirt. And that led me to further really refine on not only the movement of the shirt, but the movement of the magnetic clasps. Because originally I thought the magnetic clasps caused the wound in his neck, because the first videos that you saw, the frame rate was low enough where there was periods of time where you didn't see the magnetic clasp, and then you see the wound on his neck. And the battery and the magnetic clasp are almost the same exact size. So the shape of the wound, and then from the two cameras, I was able to capture a rectangle object falling out of the wound. And so that just left me with the conclusion that the magnetic clasp was the thing that caused the wound to his neck. But then as more videos came out that were higher quality, I realized that the magnetic clasp stayed attached to his shirt, but it kind of like folded over on itself and hid itself from view. So that explained why it disappeared and the neck wound appeared. So then I was kind of left with an impasse. Like, all right, so the magnetic clasp wasn't the rectangular object that I saw fall out of his neck. So I had to, you know, kind of reapproach the idea. And it wasn't until I purchased the actual microphone in the same exact model, which is an older model of the microphone that Charlie had, and disassembled it, that I realized that the microphone had a battery that was the exact same size as the magnetic clasp. And then it had black kind of foam on one side and then gold foil on the other. And one of the things that always bothered me about the videos that I saw the rectangle object falling out of his neck is that I saw a metallic sheen to it as it fell and twisted. And the magnet clasp is like rubber, right? It's just flat, flat.
Flat, yeah.
I couldn't ever explain why there was like a metallic sheen to it. But as soon as I opened that case up and I saw that battery, it all came together for me. And then that led me to the conclusion that my original kind of idea was the shirt was raised up by the cross, because I saw a low resolution picture where I thought I saw the cross kind of sticking out of the shirt. Because
I've seen that as well.
Like I talked about the blue masking, the blue solder mask on this, and the cross is gray. So I'm colorblind. So when I saw that, like, I thought it was the same color as the cross originally. I have to use like, you know, computers to tell me what colors things are when they're in this spectrum of color. And so when I ran the analysis on it and it started telling me that it was blue, I couldn't make any sense of it, because traditionally, like, circuit boards have a green mask on them. And even the other models of Rogue microphones, like where I've seen videos of them disassembled, their circuit boards have green masks, but the Pro model has that blue mask. And when I opened it up and I saw that blue mask, I was like, oh my goodness, that makes perfect sense now. And then I went back and started to use something I already developed by trying to track the microphone, or the clasp with the wound to get the shape of the wound compared to the microphone clasp. I use that same code pipeline to map the size of the bulge underneath his shirt. And so when I was able to get another higher quality, more original version of that front view, I was able to see clearly in the frame that is right before where the circuit board kind of peeks out of his shirt, you get a nice clear, like, square shape, like a right angle shape of the bulge under his shirt. And it's hard to see because it's on the white background, but I have a video processing that brings out detail and low contrast, and you can kind of see that general shape there. That's the shape you see. And when I ran it through my pipeline to bring out details and high contrast and low contrast areas, I was able to clearly see that bulge. And that's when it all came together to me, that the battery and the circuit board were tied together, because literally the battery has wires that connects it to the circuit board. And so now I had the two items that were mysteries to me. They were now tied together into a single point of energy and a single point of origination, which made it a lot cleaner. Where when it was the necklace before, you're dependent on the necklace pendulum going and swinging from the blast energy hitting it, and the necklace hung so low it kind of like never set right with me, while there would be so much energy and a blast in the collarbone area that it would be enough to blow the necklace up and around. And what really sealed the deal for me was when Candace released the still shot of the back area, and you see the necklace is hanging out of the collar. And then I went back and ran analysis again on the frames from the side view. And I realized that the necklace never really lifts from his left shoulder. It stays there. It's basically getting pulled out. It's getting pulled out from his shirt as the necklace travels around, which makes sense, right? If you have momentum, if something snaps here and it's thrown with enough momentum to fly as fast as it did, it's going to have a lot of momentum when it starts to round around his back, and it's going to pull out like a pendulum. You know what I mean? It's like spinning a string in your hand and you hold it loose. It's going to pull more string out of your hand as it spins. And so that's why we see the necklace gets longer as it makes that pendulum around his neck, and the fulcrum is his shoulder. And so I don't mean to stop
you, John, but where do you think the mic was at, or the necklace was actually bursted? So do you think it was bursted on this side?
Right underneath us. So the microphone was basically mounted on his right shoulder?
His right side.
Yeah, side around here. And so at that angle, the necklace is draping right here. And so right in this area would be where the necklace is snapped. And if you see the first frames of it raise up across his face, it's literally like the end of it is about right here. So if you look at that length and you drop it down, it's right in that area. The necklace was pretty long, so if it snapped where the pendant was, there would be a lot more length that would have to come up around his face. And we would see that in the first few frames. If every frame that you look after after it originally snaps and starts to lift, it gets longer, and that's because it's pulling from the momentum from the other side. And the only thing that could keep the chain from just pulling out of his shirt is that the links where they broke mid-length, they had to kind of fray out and make it where it caught in the pendant. And that
the necklace runs down right down. We did like a little demonstration because he's 6'6", and yeah, he's sitting on a small stool, but he wouldn't reach the frame here.
If I was on the same side chair, it'd be out of frame.
He'd be out of frame. So we did kind of a little demonstration. We haven't done another one. We should, but at every point where it would break, and how that necklace went under Charlie's
arm,
underpit.
Yeah. So
right down to his thigh.
Our opinion is that it had to break from a little bit lower, because if it broke from up here and we saw it whip around the neck, by the time it got to the other side, we wouldn't have a very long piece of chain. Like I know some of it is from shutter, from probably the camera, but in our opinion, there's still too much chain there that was shown whipping under his arm for it to have been popped here. So,
I would suggest you go look at the move files at Cubs file. If you're in it's 2 and image 6268. You look at those two files. Cub is who recorded the video.
We've watched that.
Yep.
Yeah, if you go and look at them frame by frame, break it down to the single frames and go and look at every single frame, you can actually measure that necklace.
Is that his right side or his left side?
His right side.
His right side.
There's 2 videos from the right side. Cubs is
Did
60
you see the
frames
one
short.
on his left?
The 7. Yeah,
Did
but
you see the one on
7
his left?
7 you only see it once it's already halfway around his body. You're missing about 6 frames of boom it from 7.
It does swing though. It does swing and then go to like
but that's once it's all the way around his back. You're missing 6 frames from when it comes from a rest to up over his face to up over his head, right?
Right.
7's on the opposite side. It didn't lift on his left side, it lifted on his right
and
side.
his chain, his chain reached into the middle of his chest. It didn't go down past his nipples, so it was right in the cross landed here, right in the middle of his chest, and that's like a 30-inch chain.
28 to 30 inches.
Yeah, I don't know. The chain just doesn't. I'm not vibing it. I'm not vibing the length of that chain from the left side. And remember, I think I've commented a couple times. I think you were on my page saying something, and I said the chain just doesn't. Something's not sitting right with me on that whipping of the chain.
Yeah, it's bizarre. We just feel like it didn't get snapped and then pulled out. Like in our opinion, we feel like it was snapped lower.
And all this footage of Terrell holding it, how do I know that? That's all we have, right? How do I know that's real?
Terrell holding it?
Terrell.
Does he hold it?
Well, he gave it to Candace, right? Or Candace held it. I don't know who held it. Whoever's holding it. She just showed it now, right? We didn't have that back footage, did we? We didn't see that just until recently. So that's important.
So go ahead and continue, John. The chain. So the chain. Where do you think it broke? And it's getting pulled and pulled longer.
Yeah. So if you look at there's 2 different move files, a 60 frame per second and a 30 frame per second, and they have slightly different shutter speeds. So if you combine the 2 of them, you're basically getting the equivalent of a 90 frames per second of movement of that necklace. And in a single frame, it goes from resting on his chest to coming up around his face. And so from that frame from his face to up and over his head is the very next frame. And so within 3 frames, it's already going up and over his head. But at that point, you're still only seeing 8 inches of necklace because it never extends in front of his face. So, if you kind of take that trajectory and that general length, the chain, it would be way more chain length that we see coming up and over his head at that point. If it snapped down in the middle of his chest, it would be a different trajectory. And also the whipping would be equal from both sides. And we don't see any movement on the left shoulder. We see all the movement coming up and over the right shoulder. And if you combine the front view camera, you can see that it actually swings out. It doesn't just swing up like from the right view, you only see profile view. So you don't get an idea of like the
Yeah.
distance this way. But from that one MP4, you can see it swing out. So
Bring straight
we,
out.
we have a trajectory of this, right? So
Mhm.
if it was something that would happen in the center of his chest, we would have an equal trajectory where it would be going both ways. And that's just not what we see. We see it swing one direction and then get longer as it goes around to the point where it's fully extended, where we're seeing the whole length of the necklace, where it had to be the full length with just the snapped link in holding it in place, hanging out of the shirt. And then what I recently found is the very first frame of movement, you can see a link of the chain propelling out from his chest on the right side. So again, that's like tying it to that the energy is somewhere on the right side. And for the link to go out from his chest and the trajectory that it did, it kind of shows you that the energy had to be propelling outward. And you combine that with the deformation of his flesh. You know, I had the video taken down. I have no idea why. It showed nothing at all. Like it just showed his flesh being waved by the shock wave. But you could see like a wave pattern that kind of like propels out like a throwing a rock in a puddle. You know, you can see, you don't need to see where the rock hit. You can see the waves from it and you get an idea. And that his flesh was waving out like an epicenter around that area as that necklace is going up and around. And then we have that link going the opposite direction. So you're kind of getting like the idea of how the energy dispersed quickly within a single frame. And it was obviously like the link would have been caught in his shirt. If that energy centered in his center mass, it wouldn't have been able to escape his shirt, but it was close enough to the edge of his collar that, you know, we see that his collar explode out, that link was able to kind of get out and end up taking its path. You see it for a single frame. So
And that's why we think more of the chain came out, just because of how the shirt expanded. And from what you just mentioned, that's why we think more of the chain actually came out.
Yeah. And it's possible when you take all the things into account, though, that we see that the microphone case, after the necklace passes by, we no longer see the 44 millimeter microphone case underneath his shirt. We just see the microphone clasp connected to the clip. Like you see it move around and fold in ways that it couldn't do if it was still connected to the bulk of the case. So whatever energy was responsible for sending the necklace up and over his head also is responsible for the catastrophic failure of the case. And so, you know, I can't pinpoint to what that is because it was underneath his shirt, but they're at the exact same frames that happened. And then we have the link of the chain going one direction, the shrapnel from the microphone, the circuit board and the battery going the other direction. And then we have his flesh creating a wave pattern that's kind of has an epicenter from that area too. So when you add all these things together, you know, you're kind of led with the conclusion that whatever the energy was, it had to originate from that collarbone area, especially when you take the single frame of the bulge of the back of the shirt into account, which can't be explained easily by anything else because it's like 6 inches of fabric that's bulging off the back of his shirt. There's no flesh
I do
there.
have a picture of the chain. It doesn't have anything gory, but it does whip out. You can see.
Yeah, that's good. Good
Yeah,
knowledge.
and
that?
that's from the
His
7
left,
has
yeah.
7 has a better view. This video has been highly compressed. It's like that's why it
Yes.
has that blue hue. If you go
Yeah.
to 7, the original one, it has the same frame, but it's a lot cleaner and it's not as compressed. It doesn't have any artifacts.
Oh, I just
But-
I darkened it so you can see the whip because
But
you
that's
can't-
like 7 frames after the initial snapping. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's a lot of momentum. That's a lot of swinging. That's a lot of time for that necklace to start pulling out of that shirt.
Yeah, I'm just showing the length of it, how it whips. Like it's
Yeah.
right, almost like right to where Dan Flood is. It's just like you see how long it is. Wow.
And again, that lends you to that whatever severed the chain had to damage the chain also. Otherwise, it would have just slid right out of the pendant, right? Because it not only did it hold there, but it held all the way to the SUV. You know, it's dangling from his body as they're carrying him to the SUV.
Yeah.
So, you know, it had to be something pretty tangible to hold it in place. any pendant usually slides on a necklace pretty easily. So something had to deform the wherever that chain was snapped. It had to be deformed enough where it couldn't just slide off the pendant, because that's the only thing.
Is there a possibility in your brain at all? Because I'm not like trashing anybody's theory. Is there a possibility you think two things happened? Because I believe something else happened as well. Do you think he was electrocuted at the same time?
I don't have any evidence of him.
No evidence.
Yet. So I don't have anything.
I brought some pictures up on the stage. I don't know if you want to see them.
Now, I will say this. People have been electrocuted by SM58s. I have an SM58. There's a huge grounding plug on it. Like, you can find 100 videos of people being electrocuted at SM58s. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of a damaged ground, most likely.
Yeah.
Right. Or they have a amplifier that's not grounded well. So, and it's hooked to the microphone.
I would do it too.
And it finds a ground through the person holding the microphone.
Yeah, the person completes the circuit.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because we think other things are going on as well. There's just too many things.
But I would believe it more if Charlie was standing on the grass than him sitting on a plastic seat on a composite table.
It's a metal table. It's a metal table.
It has aluminum legs, but the top of it is not metal. It's composite. You can find that same table on Amazon. It's not.
Yeah, his chair is metal.
His chair's a plastic seat with metal frame for the seat.
Right, but he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any. Well, his feet are on top of water bottles, but he doesn't have any. I think you have that picture there. I don't know if you want to bring it up. He doesn't have anything underneath the legs of the table. Nothing, like you can see. Dan Flood is securely secured there. I brought this up on Baron's show. You can see all the tent legs are secured.
The path to ground would have to go through the chair, because like his tennis shoes are rubber soled on a composite table. Like, that wouldn't make a good path to ground. It would need to go through the chair.
I asked a couple electricians and they said absolutely not. If there was enough voltage going through that microphone, he had no grounding. He had no grounding. So I did ask a couple electricians.
You have to take into account but the likelihood of it having high voltage connected to it is not. We have the PA system. There's enough speakers there to definitely have enough current to kill him through the SM58. But it's not a clean thing. If he was standing on the grass, like, it would be a lot more believable for me. It's just there's a lot of resistance in between Charlie and the ground here.
Well, our whole thing is that it comes through the mic cable.
Yeah.
And when he touches the chair, how he's sitting, like, that's where his body ends up completing the cycle, right? Because there's plastic parts of the chair, but there's also a steel component to the chair.
And the table has aluminum legs, which it conducts electricity really well. Yeah. Like, there is a path there.
Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just put them on like what they had before?
So our thing is just, it's so weird, right? Like, you look at any other setup, he's just on the ground. And they actually roll out rubber mats for him and like all that kind of stuff. Now here, he's elevated. And not only did they elevate him, they elevated Dan Flood. They elevated the tent. The tent is grounded. Dan Flood is grounded. Charlie's not grounded.
Yeah.
This is the only time you see it. It's freaking bizarre. Go look at the table legs for the tent. They're all up on these thick plastic boxes, which grounds them. So if something happens, and if you were to touch
the metal, the tent legs are metal. I can bring a picture of that, but I'm pretty sure you guys seen it. Baron's posted about it before. Every leg of the tent is up on a rubber stool.
A rubber or plastic stool. I think it might be a step up or a small bench. But we had some people dig into that, and it's a big hunk of plastic. And so the Dan is okay. The table is okay. Charlie's the only one not okay. So that's just very off from all their other setups, and it just doesn't make much sense. And to go back to just like voltage, right? To turn that mic into an alleged weapon, all you would have to do is mess with the ground. And Jon has just said that, like, the grounding either on that cable itself or to the equipment that you're connected to. If that's not solid, then you've got a problem. And a lot of people think that this can't happen. Well, it actually happened a lot through history, because that's why these safety precautions for audio equipment racks and microphones are in place because they have accidentally killed people before.
Yeah, I mean, like
So
he's surrounded by water. They should have had at least electrician or somebody coming there, or at least ground the plate, put a mat there, or elevate him on the top of a
yeah,
something.
we don't think a fire marshal went through and checked that out very carefully. Like I said earlier on when we started this, that I had Terrell's job for 25 years on bigger shows, and I did. One thing I would have done was just flip the tech table to the other side. Very simple thing. It might have made a difference. And if they actually did that, it might have slid Charlie's tent over a couple feet to compensate for the table being on that side to keep the proper distance between the tech table and the crowd. Might have taken away the shot from the roof. I can't say for sure,
Yeah.
but if you shove that tent over a couple feet, it might have done that. So, and I'll go back to the raising of Charlie in the tent. That actually really makes no sense. So if you wanted the people in the back to see Charlie clearly, you would probably, raise him up. But then you do the same thing with like the tent and everything, and then you actually don't really gain much from that because it sort of contradicts itself. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a
So
cat
we got
here
a
I got to
cat
take
meowing.
care
The
of.
tent kind of
Sorry.
blocks.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, that's okay. So we're at the necklace, and then how has it evolved, and where are you at now with
So
your
from
analysis and
my
testing?
my first analysis was all on the videos, like mapping the pixels, trying to figure out where exactly the epicenter of the deformation was, and pinpointing the exact frames that it happened. And once I kind of like satisfied my curiosity on that, then I moved to the audio to see if I could identify any frequencies of the things that I thought I was seeing in the video. And using since we had a plurality of cameras recording the event, and they're kind of 180 degrees spread out amongst the crowd, you can basically get a pretty good idea of using this stereo. Every camera has multiple speakers on them. Some are better than others, some are positioned better than others, but they'll give you a general idea of where a sound originates from, whether it's in front of a person, to the left of them, or to the right of them. Especially if the sound's loud enough, because you'll see it peak hard in one channel versus the other channel. Or if it's in front of them, you'll see it peak in both the channels. So using the 180 degree kind of camera spread that we have, I was able to go and kind of analyze the different frequencies, like key frequencies that are odd sounds that you can say for sure just didn't come from normal things, or the PA speakers, or someone talking next to them. Like they were out of the ordinary frequencies that you wouldn't find in a normal recording at the decimal levels that we saw. And look at each camera and see which channel picked them up on. So it gives you an idea from each camera's independent point of view where that general direction of that sound came from. And then you go each camera around the event, and you kind of like check, each camera is a check for the other camera. So if one camera picks up a really strong frequency in its left channel, and there's a camera that's to the right of it, that camera should also pick it up to the left channel, but it won't be as strong. It'll be slightly left. And as you go around the crowd, the people that are in front of Charlie, they should pick it up in both their channels. And if they're a further distance from it, the decimals should be lower. So you can kind of get an idea whether you're picking up a true frequency from the event, something that is absolutely happened and originated from a general area, or you're just picking up a weird sound or artifact. And going through all those camera sounds, I was able to detect from that Lookout Charlie video, he found this really strange 4940 hertz sound that's kind of like out of the ordinary. It's like a whistle almost. It's kind of like when you let the air out of a balloon and you hold it. It's kind of like that sort of sound. And it had a really, from the two move, which is Cubs video, which is that 60 frame per second iPhone 15 Pro, it was almost completely left channel dominant. There was almost none of it caught in the right channel, and it was extremely loud, louder than any of the other videos. So that gave me the idea that whatever that sound was, whatever that frequency was really close to, and to his left, because it was only recorded in his left channel, and it was the highest peak was in his left channel. And so I went along the crowd, around the tent to the other side, and see if it switched, to see if they picked it up in their right channel or if they picked it up in both the front channels. And using that sort of methodology, going through all the different video views, looking for these specific frequencies, I was able to detect that it came from the area around the van, which the van was completely off my radar. Like, I didn't even pay attention to, like, I tried to only look at the things around the event, like the high energy kind of episodes, the things that, you know, are really hard just to explain away. So the van thing was kind of like under my radar, but this frequency kept mapping to right around the van area, and I couldn't really make sense of it until I remembered seeing a video of a guy shooting a 30 caliber air rifle into ballistic gels, and it made this squeak sound when he shot it. And so I went and took those videos and I did audio analysis on them, and lo and behold, it's the exact same frequency as the Cubs video picked up, and all the other videos picked up to a lesser degree. And so, you know, that took me to someone else mentioned that, you know, they had an idea that they faked the shot and shot ballistic gel into the van. And so then I went and looked at their work, and it showed clearly that the van door opened up right before the event. The guy goes around the van, and then he's the first one to react to the shot before anyone else reacts to the shot. The guy that opens the back of the van up seconds before the shot's going off, he jumps and reacts. And then I pick up that frequency that's the exact same frequency as a 30 caliber bullet hitting ballistic gel. And then from other videos I've seen, ballistic gel does this thing where it cavitates and collapses, and it creates like micro explosions. So like you have the bullet hit the ballistic gel, and then it creates like 5 different explosions after it. And it's a very mathematical equation to that rhythmic pattern of it. And I was able to detect that also. And so now I have 2 frequencies that are tied to a 30 caliber bullet hitting ballistic gel that all map to the area around this van. And we have video of a guy opening the van and, you know, going around the van and closing it right after the event. So, you know, as much as I didn't like the speculative nature of the ballistic gel shot in the back of the van, I couldn't deny it anymore. The only thing I needed was to map the bullet going past the tent, where I could say that not only do we have the frequency of the bullet striking ballistic gel in an area close to the van, but we have the mock cone off the bullet, which tells you the projectile passed the tent, right? It didn't end at the tent, it passed the tent. And that all lines up with the timing of this frequency in the van. And so using the same technique, looking for the frequency of the mock cone, I was able to track it. Those 2 iPhone videos on the right side of Charlie are key, because the bullet basically passes right in front of them because the van's right to their left. And so if the bullet actually struck Charlie, and, you know, the videos that are recording Charlie right in front of them should have the highest peaks of the mock cone, because the bullet basically travels right over the top of them. And you should see both of their channels peak, because the bullet is giving this frequency off right as it travels over the top of them and it strikes Charlie. And I wasn't getting that at all. They were getting channels that were to the left side, which tells you the bullet passed to the left of them. And then those 2 cameras on the right of Charlie, they were capturing where the bullet was coming from their right side, and then it switches channels, and then you see it go to the left side. And the only way that happens is if the bullet passes by them. And then the last key to the puzzle was getting the UVU video, where they were 80 meters out from the tent and they were closest to the shooter, and they had a shotgun mic pointed at the tent, and they pick up that mock cone passing them, but in the cameras that are on the audio of the actual camera unit itself, but the shotgun mic that's pointed at the tent doesn't pick up the mock cone passing, you know, its directional audio. So it tells you that the bullet passed really close to that camera itself, but that shotgun mic, where it was picking up a very selective area of audio from around the tent, it didn't pick it up that strong. It picked it up, but it picked it up as it passed by it. It didn't pick it up as it, you know, went to the official narrative. Its endpoint is at the tent. So we should see it arrive at the tent at the time that it should, and it doesn't. It passes the camera way
Travels.
Yeah. And so if you add all those cameras together, they tell you the distance that the shot came from, and they tell you that the shot passed over the crowd and went past Charlie. It didn't end at the tent. But the most important thing is that there's a third frequency that originates from the tent, and all the cameras agree that this frequency originates from the tent, and it's a low frequency, a high rise, which means that it goes from a very low amount of noise to almost immediately high decimal. So that tells you it's a high energy event, and it's a very flat peak. And these map directly with the examples that we have from the pager attacks, from the other YouTube examples of people testing these explosives.
See, I think them using something that's already been so well mapped out and marked and identified, just personally to me, doesn't make too much sense.
But it's
why
difficult.
use something to?
It's difficult to find, though. I looked for it for months. It wasn't until I had a real world example of the exact frequency, and I was able to take multiple cameras that I was able to even identify it. It's within 5 milliseconds of the cameras that are close to it. It's so close to that mock cone that it just looks like noise. It just looks like the mock cone. So, I feel like they learned from their past mistakes, and they knew that people were going to be looking at the audio, and they knew they had a window that mock cone was going to cause distortion on most cell phones, and they wouldn't be able to really identify much out of it. But being able to take multiple cameras that are further away, it takes away the mock cone effect from it, because the mock cone passes these cameras before the event, and then the detonation comes after the event, because it takes time for the sound to arrive. So if it wasn't for the cameras that were further away from the tent, I would never have been able to detect it. If I was just looking at the cameras that were next to it, I could look at the audio, from now until the end of time and not be able to find it. It wasn't until I got the audio from the events that were further away that I was really able to dial in on it. So it was a well thought out operation. They knew what they were up against. They knew people were going to run the audio, and they did a really good job of hiding it. It was just the amount of video that was available to us just has overcome the ability of that mock cone to hide that detonation sound.
They didn't count on all of that.
Yeah, I mean, the UV, look, we just now got the audio from that UV event. Like, it was difficult to get. It wasn't like it was just given to us. Like, it was like pulling teeth getting the audio from that. We had the audio that was uploaded on YouTube, but it's so distorted you can't make nothing out of it. You had to get all 4 of those audio files from an uncompressed source, which is basically the original source. And UVU is they even told me that they didn't give it out to anybody. They didn't sell it to anybody. Like, I still don't know how it got out into the wild, but without that, we wouldn't have concrete evidence of it. That's really been the key piece to it all. And, I don't think they ever intended of that quality of audio being released to the public.
Yeah. And so where are you now with it?
So I just finished that, because that audio just got made available to me. So I'm finishing the forensic package on that. I'm running the triangulation with all the other angles to try to really to firm it up with the existing data that I have. And then the hardest part is recreating the actual event. It's difficult to get, it's been almost impossible to get someone with a license to have these explosives, that detonates these explosives, to be willing enough to play ball and even make a micro shape charge. I've got the design for it. I have the dimensions. I have the amount needed. But finding someone willing enough to do it is going to be difficult. I can't do it myself. Legalities of it would be, not only was it dangerous because it's high order explosives, but just transporting these explosives, you have to have license. Like, for me to even, theoretically, you can make it yourself, and other people have made it themselves. But as soon as you take it from the area that you made it, you put it in a car and you drive it anywhere, you've just broken a law. Like, they could arrest you for it. So
I do have one thing to mention. So, a lot of people depended a lot on that video to be released, and it was held back for months. So I'm going to ask an obvious question. Can we trust it?
Yeah. How do we know it?
How do we know it hasn't been altered, man?
How do we know?
Because personally, Allie and I have used none of the footage from that source.
Yeah.
Just because we don't want to take a chance of using something that potentially could have been manipulated and have it mess up our investigation. So we have
I was
intentionally.
super sus of it just because it looks
Yeah.
different than all the other videos.
I couldn't even download it, so you got it downloaded. So from the
Yeah, I'll share it with you if you want it. Yeah, I have it downloaded. I ran the metadata on it. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong with the metadata. It came off a Canon camera. There's no modifications to it. The audio is straight off the camera. You got the 4 channels.
Is the audio
Sharp-
actually from a Canon camera? Because I was
Absolutely.
hearing that it was a couple of channels potentially from a Sony. Is that
Yeah.
anything to that, John?
No, there's a shotgun mic, which I believe it's a Rode or Shure mic, but
I think
it's
it was
just
a Shure, and it is
Yep.
a shotgun. So it's
Yep.
a
Yeah.
directional
And how
mic.
did you guys get this?
Pardon?
a girl
did you
named
get-
Piper. I don't know if it's a girl or a
Piper?
guy. Piper.
Yeah,
Piper.
yeah.
At
Piper one. Yeah.
Because I think Blake was holding the video, or I don't know who has the original video. Apparently he did. He doesn't want to release it for some reason, but I think Piper did, and Piper had it. I don't know how Piper got it.
Yeah,
I extracted the audio too. The audio is hard to get. You just can't download the file and get the audio. I've extracted the audio, isolated it, and I gave it to Piper. She'll put it up on the drive
Okay.
that she has. And then everything I do is available on my website, followtheepicenter.com. All my analysis, all my source files, all my Python code. So you could run all my same analysis on your own box, on computer. I'm completely open source of all my work. And anything that I isolate or I produce, I make available on the website. The same file I use to run the analysis on, you can download it and see it also. And I'll be putting all this information up there too as soon as I finish the analysis of it.
Can you repeat your website again, just for everyone?
Followtheepicenter.com.
Maybe he can put it in the chat.
Yeah. Follow. And then Jay Rana Boomer says she has a friend who owns a demolition company and uses explosives.
Yeah, anybody that does, they'll have linear charges, which will use the same sort of explosive and a shape charge. It's just slightly different. Oil and gas people would be the people that would have something that's close to what we need. They drop them down wells to kind of like, it's kind of like fracking. It opens up the well so they can pump more natural gas out of it, but they use these things daily.
That's what one of the questions somebody had was if you had any independent experts or forensics, ballistics, audio engineers review your findings.
I haven't, but they're free too. That's why I make it all available. Again, like that's the point of putting it up, putting all the forensic. My findings are there for you to see. All my source files and my code that I use to come up with them. So if anyone has any other findings, they're feel free to go and run it and find the faults. I've had a few people already point out a few things that I had, some code that I approved that I didn't have the new version of the code up, and so yeah, I depend on other people to critique my work, and that's what makes it better. So I'm all for people running through my work and finding something wrong with it. Majority of the conclusions I've come up with are from other people's objections to something that I've had. So
you had a question about the copper a while back on his page, right?
Yeah,
about the copper.
Yeah, I don't know how long ago it was. I dropped some comments on your wall way back when, and just about the device and just about how it would react in a body. And I noticed that you actually made those changes when you went on to a live stream. You didn't get back to me, and don't worry, I didn't take it personally. Like, nobody knows who I am.
Listen,
and I noticed that you read it, obviously.
I don't know if you noticed, like,
adjusted.
I don't remember anybody's names. Like, you guys, people that say these names of these people involved, and it's just like, I deal with tangibles.
You got an easy one to remember, though.
But you probably have so much other stuff in your head. Yeah. But you did do the correction, and I value that.
Yeah, I respect the heck out of that,
So-
man. Like, we're just human beings. We're not robots. We're gonna get stuff wrong sometimes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's everybody's perspective. Like, we wouldn't have gotten this far if there wasn't so many eyes on it. Like, everyone has a unique perspective, and everyone has they're worth it. Even if I don't agree with what you say, like I'm going to listen to you and I'll run analysis on it to see if I can find if there's anything to it. Like I'm generally just curious. I'm not so much like trying to be the guy that's right or trying to be the ambassador to some theory. Like
The gotcha person.
I would much rather someone more qualified than me come up and take over on it. But until that person shows up, I'm going to keep at it and keep doing it because, you know, they've yet to show up and pull the weight. So, you know, I'm just going to keep cracking on and keep running my agents. And as new media comes out and new audio comes out, you know, I do my best to kind of tie it all together. Like tangibles are the most important thing to me. I want it all to make sense. I want all the pieces of the puzzle to go together. Like I don't like stipulations and speculations. I like things to all work cohesively and all make sense when you look at them all together. Like, because that's how life works. Like we don't have, like, when you understand the workings of things, they usually make a lot of sense. And if they don't make sense, it's probably because you don't understand everything about it. And this is going to be no different. And we have a lot of
all the information. Like
we don't have all exactly. There's so much obstruction of information that we have to do our best to fill in the blanks, and they use that to their advantage. You know, the amount of noise that can be created through just people speculating on what happened is more advantageous to them than them trying to shut it down. You know, it's better to have people just wildly speculating on what could have happened than to just shut down any conversations about it, because people get fatigued and at some point they're just going to stop wanting to hear it anymore. Like what you're talking about, like the husbands don't want to hear it anymore. They just have fatigue. They've heard enough. They were curious for a while, but they've heard so many different things that have been proven wrong that they're just tired and they're ready to move on. And I feel like that we're at that point where they've lost control of the official narrative. So now they're just letting the wild speculation go on until people just get so fatigued and they feed into it. I mean, how much hearsay have we gotten from the official? Like they show us pictures of a rifle that's not the rifle. They show us texts that are made up texts. Like they fueled the speculation. They have fueled this just runaway effect, because it works for them. You know, at the end of the day, the more people are divided about this event, the easier it is for them to kind of just like shoehorn their narrative in and Banana Republic a court case in. And then once the guilty verdict is done, people are just over it at that point and don't want to go back and question it. And that's really what motivates me more than anything, is I have empathy for Tyler Robertson. Like it could have been my son.
100%.
It could have been someone else's sons. Like it's so easy for people to find an online community and have, you know, someone basically just coach them into doing, you know, things that are way outside of their character. And they think that it's innocent enough that they won't get caught. They think there's enough other people involved that it shelters them, but they don't realize that they could be the person being set up as the fall guy. And I feel like that's what happened to Tyler. I don't think he's completely innocent. I think he probably had ill intent, but I don't ever think that he would go up there thinking that he was going to be the lone wolf shooter walking around a campus with cameras everywhere with a rifle down his pants. And he was going to take a shot from a roof and jump off of it and hide the gun and grandpa's gun in the woods and get away with it.
Some time to prepare. No one even knew that the event was going to be outside until that day, is what I heard.
Oh, was it that day it was announced?
They
or was
didn't know it was
going
to be in the courtyard. No. It wasn't announced.
Not sure if it was that day, but I know it was very close to the day.
Because they announced the place, but then I do remember they held the exact location, the courtyard, until was it the week before or something? There wasn't a lot of time to plan.
It might have been a week before,
a couple days, a week.
I don't know if it was a week. Was it? I gotta check that.
But regardless, there wasn't a lot of time for somebody to, you know, put this all together. Like, you know, the fact that we're being expected to believe that he just came up with this idea and slapped this plan together in a week when he find out that he was going to be there, and then somehow, you know, did exactly what Jon just said, like run through there with a peg leg and get up there and jump, you know, take the shot and jump off the roof. And dive into a bush and throw the rifle away. Like that's
But
highly
you
unlikely.
got to text your lover first. And
Yes, of course.
Right, all the details.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't forget to text your furry first, right?
And
So
tell
you
them
guys
about
see
all
the
the
there.
breaking news. They found an old man, but it wasn't him because it was really me. Like, how does he even know that? Like, was he sitting there watching the
Right.
news from the bush? You know what I mean? It's just like the narrative was constructed to alienate Tyler from the general populace. So people could
Yeah.
just, once they dehumanize someone, it makes it very easy for you just to throw him to the wolves. Like, oh, he's part of the
Absolutely.
other team. Now it's the
Yeah.
leftist killers that killed Charlie. That's that other team. Let's kill that kid. Death penalty, firing squad. And you see
And
it.
speaking of George Zinn, why has no one questioned what he said about how he said he was specifically paid to say
Yeah.
that he did it?
Yes.
Yeah. What
Like,
else
that's a
could
whole nother
motivate?
Paid
thing.
by who?
What
and
else
why?
can motivate a person? Like, think about I always think about, I put myself in people's shoes. So like, all right, I'm an old man George there, supposedly with cheap CP on my phone. And I'm at the Charlie event. I hear a rifle shot me. Like, you know what? It's a good time for me to claim that I shot Charlie. Let me pull my pants down and say, wave my hat and say, I shot Charlie. That sounds like a
With his
great
pants
plan.
falling down too.
Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
in the age of Bitcoin, that anybody anonymously can contact you and offer you these payments that no one can track. Like, it's just, it's easier than ever just to set up a patsy. It's easier than ever than pull off a conspiracy, because most of the time when we're communicating, we don't have no idea who we're communicating with. You know what I mean? Like, we build such trust up with people that we never see their face. We don't know their names. We don't know anything about them. But, people have just desensitized themselves to opening up their lives and their feelings to people that they've never met. And that builds trust. And you get enough trust, especially with a youth, you can convince them to do all sorts of things. So, I had friends that I hung out with that had me do things I would never normally do. And, kids these days, they don't even have to leave the house to get that same level of kind of like corruption of character. It can happen,
Yeah.
in a kid that spends his day in his room. You think, well, what harm could he do? He's in his room on his computer all day, until he takes a ride to the UVU one day, and you see him in the news later. It's like, that's how fast it could happen. And it's unfortunate that people can just separate themselves from the human factor of it. It's the worst thing to be is to be falsely accused and then have the whole world just ready to throw you to the wolves and have the whole weight of the state on you. Like, there's no worse feeling. Like,
And the president.
and you're right, you have no one there to defend you. Everything that's released to the public is just making people like you less. And, hardly any of it's probably even true. And, it's just like, you have to feel hopeless. And if I can do anything but just be the guy that stands up for him, even though I don't think he's innocent, like, I'll do whatever I can for him. Like, even if he's accomplice to this, like, he doesn't deserve to face the consequences that they're trying to put him under.
To
And
take all the blame and the death penalty.
right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
at the end of the day, it erodes our trust in everything, because if we don't have a justice system that we can trust anymore, we don't have anything. Like,
Yeah.
our whole society falls apart as soon as we lose confidence in our justice system. Like, everything falls apart. And so, at the end of the day, it's critical for us as citizens to ensure that we can hold our court system accountable and not allow these type of, like, just railroads to go on, because it could happen to anybody. Nobody's
Yeah.
insulated from this. So, whether
I
you
still
agree
kinda
with,
like-
with
I still
Tyler or
like
not,
Coleman
like,
about
it's
the
time
martyr.
you got to take a stand for it. You can't just let it slide, whether you agree with, whether you like Charlie or didn't like Charlie, or think Tyler's innocent or not. Like, you have to demand that if there's reasonable doubt, like, you can't punish a person to such a degree. And there's obviously enough reasonable doubt to say that, we should be exploring other options to what happened.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
I
Do you
think
think they'll try to dump this case? Do you think the FBI and them will try to get it dismissed and pawn the whole mess ups on, the sheriff who just resigned? Or
It's hard to say. The FBI is such as in shambles. It's been a decaying, if I have no trust in the government. It's
Yeah.
worked from the government, and thought that I was doing something good, and see that it was just all for them to save face, and they have really no intent on being a good steward of tax money or protecting the soldiers or any of that. I lost all faith in the government. I realized that it's largely a bunch of individuals working for their own self-interest, and they only pretend to be playing a role of being a good custodian to their responsibilities. In reality, they're just looking out for their own self-interest, and it's just a bunch of players out there trying to get ahead, get to the next level of the game. And if they have to throw someone under the bus on the way there, they'll do it. And
They're probably going to fire Cash Patel.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
did you see the statement that came out with that ballistics report? How it was inconclusive? Did you catch the other thing after that? The FBI is now going to be rerunning their own tests to verify.
Yeah,
how
how much do you want to bet their tests is going to match?
Yeah.
How much do you want to bet?
Of course it will.
Well, it's just like they come out with, the fragment didn't match, but the casing matched. The casing was still in the rifle. It's pretty hard not to have a casing not match when it's left in the rifle. But they don't tell you that part. They conveniently leave that part out. They act like the casing was on the roof. Oh, it has his DNA on it. It matches. And, we don't have any gunpowder residue from his car, his keys, his clothes, his hat, anything that he could have wore that he touched after he made that rifle shot would have left gunpowder residue. Sure, he could have washed his hands and take a bath, but there's everything he touched up to that point. He didn't detail his car in between the 33 hours of him taking that shot and then bringing him in But what he do as soon as he left, he got in his car and went home. So everything he touched in his car would have gunpowder residue in it. If they could find it, they would find it, and they'd be telling us all about it. Just like hard evidence. What's hard? Speculative evidence is DNA on a rifle, right? Well, sure, it's his rifle. Sure, his DNA is going to be on it. Hard evidence is a video of him taking the shot. Why do we not have a video of him taking the shot? The camera was there. The angle was right. We can see the position on the camera. They show him running away. Why don't they show us the video of him
withholding that?
The only reason you can speculate is that it doesn't show something that they want us to see.
I'm afraid they're going to make some AI video or something and use that.
Yeah, and that's the other issue.
Very possible.
We can't trust anything anymore. AI has gotten to a level where you can fake anything. So it's like now we not only do we not have trust in our justice system, well, we can't trust our own eyes and ears anymore. So it's like it leaves you with nothing but questions, and that erodes trust. And our society is built on trust, where you believe it or not, the government doesn't do a whole lot for us. What holds everything together is that you trust your neighbor, or you trust your local merchant, or you trust whoever you're putting trust into to do the right thing. That's what holds everything together. And as soon as that glue starts to come apart, we don't have nothing left.
Everything falls apart.
Yeah, we're done after that. You got nothing after that, man.
Yeah,
that's what I tell people.
They wanted to make him a martyr, and that's what they did.
Yeah. You can't.
And they keep pushing that narrative all the time now. Like, you look at any of the church things that's going on with Rob and Frank, and they're all pushing this martyr thing. They all want them to be glorified, so that they can keep turning them into a cash cow. Like, we've already seen that. Like,
a deity.
That's what they're going for. Like, they made more money in 6 months than they made in 5 years. Yeah. So they need to keep pushing that, because he's now a cash cow for them. He is monetized, right?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
And the way they did it psychologically in the beginning, I don't know about you guys, but I was emotional when I heard that he passed. Right, I was in the garage with my neighbor, and we were crying. Remember?
Yeah,
we
you were.
Me and her were crying because he has kids, and we couldn't believe it. And I took out my Bible.
And that was part of the alleged psyop, right?
I literally took out my Bible. Because the whole world, you remember how everybody, it was Korea, it was UK, the mounds of people, the vigils. I was so touched, that I took my Bible out. I haven't taken it out in 5 years. So do you see what that did?
Yep. And that's why Allie and I also follow a lot of those people, because at this point, it made us do that. What they wanted to happen, we did that. We took out the Bible, and then we started watching them, and then we were like,
"What?
Oh, that's the game you were doing." So now we focus on a lot of those people, because they're literally twisting, the story of Jesus and the Bible to fit a different narrative. They
Yes, they are.
are. And they always use
100%.
they use the same passages over and over again. They love the ones from Genesis. It's like Ali says she thinks they're all in a group chat with the same script. Because if you watch, it's tough to watch them.
They all
Granted,
called him a martyr the first week. Every single pastor.
Yeah.
I did a compilation video.
Yeah.
Every single pastor called him a martyr.
And they all shoot the same scripture points with the same talking points. You know, it's just like ding ding ding. Now you're gonna say this, and it's like it looks like it's an orchestrated attack. And that grosses us out so much because these people generally are faith-driven people who are pretty freaking innocent and just have an open trust. And not only is this horrible cover-up going on where somebody could possibly, an innocent person, or not totally innocent, but somebody who could be going away for something they didn't do. And now, even once that's done, this other psychological operation is still going to be pushed on these people. And you know, that could be your grandmother, for all you know, your grandfather, your uncle, you know, just going into church one day, and now we don't know what we're hearing anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's a part that really gets us angry, and that's why we sort of cover that a lot with some of our streams. That's why we do a stream every Sunday on it.
Yeah.
The new lies they're being told by this new person or whoever is involved, because we want to expose that side of all this too. Because not only in our opinion, did they do this for a political reason, but the people behind us also know that if you want to reach a bigger audience of people, you can hit the faith as well. You can hit the politics, you can hit the faith, and these are all weapons that a government can use against people to keep them in line, to keep them in order.
That's why they need TPUSA, because with the government doing what they want to do and all their wars, when you have a moral or spiritual cause behind it, it's like then you can move that forward so much faster. When you've got that moral and spiritual element to it, it's more than just your government and more than what it's been before. So they need TPUSA,
1,000%.
TP faith.
Yeah. Gross.
Discernment is more important than ever. Ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Well, let's see. We've got some super chats here. Louisiana. I'm sorry this covers your face. I don't know how to make it small. I don't think I can make it smaller on
We'll just be her.
Thank you, Louisiana girl. I know. I wish I always
okay.
have that. I think she sent 2 of them. Yeah, she did. She sent another one. Such a great
right
panel of
on.
speakers. You guys are awesome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. It was nice to get here. Let me see if I can to get everybody here on. Like I said, we were trying to plan for Friday, but then when everybody could do it today, we're like, let's do it. Let's get it.
No.
Let's see. Jon Bray's hypothesis isn't exactly electrocution, is it?
No.
No. I don't think
No.
so. No.
No, that's not what John's thinking. I'm not going to speak
No.
for the man. He's been here all night, but
Yeah.
I do not believe that's what John
He's
is
against me. No, I'm just joking.
You
He
show
says,
me,
give me
Working together
tangible.
here.
Give me
Yeah,
tangible.
exactly. You show me working example. I can measure and compare it. I'll be all on board.
Let's
I
see.
don't-
And then Debbie says, hey, everybody, go on and like at Adam Thomas podcast and please subscribe. He is awesome.
Oh
Never
yeah, I
heard
think
of
he
that.
was on you and him did a live, right? Jon Bray? You and Adam did a live.
It's either,
Adam Thompson.
You do so many lives you can't remember.
Adam Thomas podcast. I
it's
think
a
He had a
name.
big
Yeah.
flag in the background. A big American flag in the background.
Oh, is it the Black Line Brief?
No. His
No.
name is Adam. Adam podcast.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
Tennessee boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has a heavy accent. Yes.
Tennessee boy.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. We did a show with him a couple days ago too.
No, I
Really
love-
nice guy.
I loved his show. It was a good show. He asked great questions. It was my mom's favorite. She watched all these and she liked him the best.
Aw.
Aw.
Oh, he
He
was
is so nice.
he is a very nice guy. He was a great guest,
Yeah.
and he's a strong supporter of your show.
Yeah, he is.
Good.
Let's
good
see.
kid.
Let me see. Oh, somebody said they got tased. Letters in
What?
the chat says I got tased once, and somebody says we won't ask how you got tased. Letters. Speaking,
Okay.
oh, okay. So I have to tell you guys a story. Okay, this is highly illegal. I didn't know it was illegal. But okay, so I think I had seen on YouTube or something, somebody putting like dry ice in a bottle and it exploded. I'm like, no way that actually happens, right? So I was getting these farmer's dog, packs from that company, and so they sent a lot of dry ice in the packing for the dog food. To keep it cold and frozen. And so my son comes over and I'm like, hey, I saw this thing and they said you can put dry ice in a bottle and like it exploded. I'm like, should we try it out? That sounds kind of fun. Like I have boys, so like I have boy experiments in my head to do. Boys were perfect. So we get this dry ice and we pack it in the water bottle and I throw it out in the back. And it just sort of smokes. It has a little water in it, and then smokes and, not really anything. And I'm like, well, it needs more dry ice. And so we pack it with dry ice and throw it on the ground again. And it's not really doing anything. So I'm taping with my phone, taping. I'm so old. Okay. Okay. So, and he picks it up and he's going to throw it. And all of a sudden it goes, boom. He falls back on his butt.
Oh no.
He's shaking. His hands are shaking like this. I'm like, oh my gosh. It was so loud, you guys. The whole neighborhood, I don't even know. They're like, Bruce's are doing something over there again. But he comes
Again.
up. He had a long sleeve and it's shredded.
No way.
Like we are so lucky he didn't lose a limb and anything. And so
Wow.
I would do the explosive thing for you, Jon Bray. But that, I think I quit after that. Anything explosive.
Wow.
My
Did the
husband got
water
home and
bottle explode? Or did it
Yes,
Wow.
it exploded. Told my husband when he got home, he's like, you did what? I'm like, I have boys. I just think like that, I guess.
He was
So,
obviously okay, right?
He was
obviously
fine. He was
Startled,
shaking
but
up. His
okay.
ears were buzzing. So then he looks it up and he's like, Mom, this is illegal. I'm like, oh my God. I had
Now
no
you submitted
idea.
it on live.
That's funny. That's a good story.
Anyway, oh my gosh, it was crazy. So I'm banned from doing experiments, you guys.
Well, we actually looked because we wanted to try to demo our theory, and I was talking to electrical engineer buddy of mine, and he's like, for what you actually want to do, you're going to need like a few $1,000s to do this. So we're like, all right, great. Why do we have to pick the theory that nobody can see and it's too expensive to demo? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. We'll have to just be more creative with, just
How we do it.
just doing
Do
a
a
lot of research.
GoFundMe.
Yeah, we could.
We could, but like, to be honest, we've noticed a lot of people start fraudulent GoFundMes online, and people who don't need money start one just to try to take money.
First, we got to see if we can actually get, people to help us do it, and then
Like we just don't want to be like one of those like kinds of people,
I know there's a lot of people. Well, you can set like on your lives, you can set a goal, like a gift goal of like what you're trying to get with each one. And then like on your lives, then just, do a collection of that. And I don't know how to do it. I'm just finding all this stuff out as I go. But yeah, I guess you can set
it just
goals.
depends how dedicated we are to actually, because that would be a lot.
Because in the end, like, we don't care about really proving our theory. Like, what we want to do is find the truth. Wherever that is, whoever knows it, however we find it. We don't care whether it's us or John or Jordan or whoever else or Jesse on Fire. Like, we don't care who's right. We just want the truth. We want it transparent. We want these, pardon my language, but these fuckers who did it to be behind bars, or at least a good handful of them.
Yeah.
Because I think it's safe to say at this point, it wasn't just one or two people. There's probably a good, maybe half dozen to maybe a dozen people involved. And if we can at least nail, at least half of them,
Yeah.
I guess that's wishful thinking.
Well, are you
Before-
counting the
before.
FBI?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably more than
you
a
know.
dozen people involved, but
Yeah. Well, I'm trying. I'm trying to.
Allegedly.
Yeah. I'm just trying to be, realistic.
Allegedly.
Trying to be realistic without going
So-
too crazy and say, all of Turning Point and all of the FBI and there's a
Yeah.
whole nother country over there and all of them were involved. Like I'm just
Yeah.
trying to be
Mhm.
realistic. Like say there is like a dozen people, then I'd like to see more than one person go away. Like I don't want to
Yes.
just see one person. That's very unsatisfactory. I think a lot of people won't be buying that, won't be happy with that result. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So like that's what we want to see. That would make us feel happy. So like
Yeah.
if Jon Bray gets proven right tomorrow, and then we see a dozen people cuffed and brought into the office, I will literally send John a gift to his house saying, God
Yeah.
bless you, sir, for being right. Thank you so much for solving this
Yeah.
thing and getting justice for Charlie. I wouldn't
Well,
care at
we're
all.
the real patriots. When people are out there mad because we're, talking about it and, doing studies and theories and all this stuff, we're the true patriots because we're doing this for you guys. We're doing this for everybody because guess what? When the government's knocking at your door, wanting to accuse you of something or take away your guns or take away your rights, the ones that are going to be fighting for you are the ones, your neighbors, the ones who are living right next to you, right across the street.
Yep.
And they're not going to care who you voted for. They're not going to care about any of the BS. They're going to be there fighting beside you. And so that's why we need to stick together and
Mhm.
let them be the outsiders. Not the other way
Yep.
around.
Good point. I like the way you phrased that.
Thank you. So letter says, bruh, this guy knows how magnets work. Nobody is supposed to hold such forbidden knowledge.
That's
And then
funny.
somebody said, Charlie worked as a stunt coordinator from LA. It wasn't a complex stunt. Even college level film students can create it. What?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think
haven't
is
heard
that
that.
is he
I did
confused
not
about
know.
the person that looked like Butch Hibbs? Maybe.
Maybe because was that about Charlie? Did they say
They said
Charlie?
That's what
Charlie.
it said Charlie.
I'd never heard that.
Bid
I don't know
782.
where that Charlie worked as a stunt coordinator.
I never heard that.
With
I
a
think
stunt
they might be
coordinator from
referring
LA.
to the makeup artist, but I could be wrong.
If you have evidence of that, can you please
Email one of us.
Yeah, email one of us that if you have actual evidence of that. That would be great. I'd love to see that if you can provide a document or something.
He
Yeah.
worked with a stunt coordinator.
I never heard of that until
Oh,
now.
I don't know. Like,
I never heard of that.
didn't Fulvette work a lot in LA with all that stuff? I don't know.
No, I don't know about a lot, but I know he.
If Charlie did want to do anything, I'm pretty sure he can just snap his fingers and
Yeah, he's got a lot of
Yeah,
money. I guess
I
if
don't
he
know.
really wanted to, I guess he could.
So Blake released the original UVU footage then?
Yeah, as
I-
far as I can tell, it's 3 gigs is original metadata. Like,
Is it on his
everything.
YouTube? Where did he put
No,
that?
Piper One has it on a drive. You
What
can
is
find it-
Piper One? So
So
I don't know about.
Piper is Blake. I don't understand. Who's Piper? I'm so confused because someone just said Blake released
What's
it. Now
Piper? And-
Piper did.
Yeah, and then you said Piper earlier. Like,
It's a X username that
Yeah,
has
Oh.
a link to
Blake
it on the
released
drive.
it and Piper.
No,
Blake
no.
Blake sent it to
Pipe.
Piper when he sent it out to I guess Candace and someone else, and they've been sitting on it, and they just finally got it on a drive for people to download it when they saw
Oh,
it.
Okay,
so
so-
he told everyone he only gave it to Candace and Paramount Tactical. So that's
I
weird.
guess.
I
yes,
No,
guess
it's
apparently-
when he gave it to the mid gray. You know, the mid gray was supposed to do the analysis on it to prove it was real. And
Gary?
probably.
Actually, listen.
Whoa!
listen.
Sounds like Gary to me.
Listen to the video. Listen to that mid-grade video.
Yeah.
Then listen to Gary. Then listen to
Yeah.
mid-grade. Then listen to Gary.
Do the audio.
I'm not going to say that it's him. I'm just going to say listen to the voices
Not
and make
even
your
the
own
voice,
judgment.
just his voice, the annotations of his voice and what he's
It's
saying.
the words that he used too.
Yes.
It's like when I read the text, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't have to hear this. I was like, that's scary.
It's
Okay.
weird. Like listen
Sounds like
to
Gary.
it. It's just
Yeah.
bizarre.
Mid-grade
Yeah.
allegedly is Gary. I don't know.
Yeah, tangibles. You got tangibles. But yeah,
Let's see.
Mid-grade did the analysis on it. He also sent it to this Piper one. I'm probably butchering that. But yeah,
Yeah.
they put it on the drive, and then I ripped the audio files and sent them to Piper for her to put, or him, whoever. Sorry, didn't mean to
Yeah.
gender them. The
I
person
don't know who it is.
behind the username Piper has my audio files that I ripped from it, and my analysis too. I think I sent them the analysis, so all that should be on their drive. But I'm gonna put it all on my my website. It'll be all on my website. I just have to write the code for
Okay.
it.
Cisco said the blood came out weird. It should pump out, not stream. Yeah,
It was the jugular. It was just the jugular is just a few centimeters underneath the skin here, and so it was just enough momentum to penetrate and hit the jugular, but not enough to get the arteries behind it. That's why the blood was deoxygenated and it didn't have the pulsation of the heart behind it. He was already in cardiac arrest. He has the posturing of someone with severe brain trauma. And so his heart was already in cardiac arrest before the blood started erupting from his neck. So he had like already a disrupted pulse. And so what we see is blood draining from his brain is why the blood looks so strange and why it doesn't pulse and it doesn't seem to have a lot of pressure behind it.
Did you get that from a doctor or?
Yeah, several doctors actually.
Okay.
Let's see. Somebody said, let's see, Debbie, I'm still with why they would show a picture of a rifle, then not only show a picture of a rifle, but not the rifle and those canines.
And why
knows
tell
how
us
I feel about that.
and tell us the rifle's in a towel, but you
Yeah.
show us a picture of a rifle in a box.
In a
someone-
box.
like
And
a
he had a
box.
gun case. He had a
That's like-
gun case. Why would he need a towel? Like, I'm confused about the towel.
It literally
Or
like
why.
someone bought the gun at a gun show and went outside like, hey, look at my new gun. Click, click. And then that's the picture they show us. And it's not even the same like model. It's a modern rifle as a
Yes.
composite stock. They say it's
Yes.
his grandpa's rifle. There's like an antique rifle. Like nothing of it made sense. But it's the FBI. So everybody just slops it up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just like, yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was one of
Let's
the
see.
first things that never made sense
Yeah.
was the picture of the rifle. Like
You
you
would
can't
just
say,
drop it off there either. I wouldn't, if I was doing something like that, I wouldn't leave it just right there.
I know
And-
that's another weird thing. Why
and why
leave
not
evidence
show it?
around?
You tell us it's in the towel. Take a picture of it in the towel. Like, does
Yeah,
that not
right.
help the narrative? You show a
Yeah.
picture of him jumping off the roof with something in a towel, supposedly. Like, show us the rifle in a towel. Why is it in a cardboard box? Like, where'd this box come from? Like, it's just
Yeah.
it was a low effort, low IQ on
Low
Outfit,
effort, low
outfit,
IQ
outfit.
outfit.
Yeah, yeah.
And what Baron showed on his stream was pretty wild too. Like the time code of him being arrested at 6:25 p.m. Reading his rights, and then he saw the Discord message at
Sorry, bros. I
8:59 p.m.
hate to break it to you, bros. I killed Tyler. I'm gonna turn myself in
Yeah.
a little bit. Like,
So
it's
did he
just-
text that while in custody?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
just like he texted his lover from the bush while he was sitting there watching the patrol cars go around. Like,
Right.
Yeah, of
again,
course.
just low effort, low IQ. Whoever was running the FBI op there, they
Yeah.
should be fired. There's just really slop.
Yeah.
But you know, if they just hit you with enough of it at once, like it becomes in the you know, chaos of everything, like you kind of buy it. It's not till you go back and like reflect on it. You're like, you know what, that doesn't make a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it. Like everything
Yeah.
they've told me up to this point, that doesn't fit anymore. But at the time, it's like new information. Oh, look, there it is. He did do it. Like Charlie's dead. This kid did it. Like you just want to believe anything when you know nothing. But
You
as
get a
soon
lot
as
of
you
family
Mhm.
members that
Others-
like disagree with you. Any of you like
Have
no,
family
Tyler
members?
Yeah, like family members say you're wrong, like Tyler did it.
Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I love my parents more than anything, and we usually have always agreed on politics. I voted for Donald Trump 3 times in a row. I've always been a conservative Christian Republican. And then after this happened to Charlie, I woke up and I was like, wow, there is no left versus right. I mean, that's the narrative that they want us to participate in, right? They want us to be against each other, but it's really us against the elites. And I've been trying to explain to my family that Tyler Robinson didn't do it, and explain all of the things that I've been discovering in my theories. And, you know, granted, they're pretty busy, and, you know, my dad works insane hours, and all he really does is listen to Fox News when he can. And so, you know, he believes what Fox News says, and it's okay. We just kind of talk about it, but don't get into like deep talks about it, you know? But it is what it is, you know? But yeah, I definitely disagree with some of the older people in my family, but my sisters kind of agree with me, or they're kind of indifferent about it, you know?
Interesting. Yeah. There's a lot of people that disagree with us, right? They think that Tyler did it. Why are you guys even doing this?
Yeah.
Like, Tyler did it. I'm like, wow.
Like we're lucky our direct neighbors to that live beside us, we agree on almost everything. And like he's been saying for years that, you know, the world's been run by a, you know, alleged deep state and, you know, blah blah blah. So we got, you know, one set of people we can talk with a lot about, but a lot of people are just walking the official line. So it's just like, okay, I guess there's a certain conversations that we just can't have then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, what about you, Teresa?
You know, so I post on Facebook a lot. A lot of our family doesn't live here. They don't really comment or anything on, you know, Facebook or anything like that, or on my YouTube. They don't pay attention. We do have a family reunion coming up in July, so I'm wondering if they'll just avoid it or if they'll want to talk about it. You get enough beers in them, they might want to talk about, you know, all kinds of things. But I haven't been to my book club since I've been covering this. Our neighborhood has a book club, and they're probably like, oh, our neighbor's a little crazy or something. They're the ones who had the explosion back last year. Remember that?
Don't give that house dry ice. Don't give that house dry ice.
I did a video with Scarica Kirk. I don't know if you've seen her. She's so funny. She impersonates Erica, but we did just on the fly, and she made me die laughing. I was just I said to her, I go, I'm not married to any theory. She goes, I'm not even married. So I'm like, it was just like these spot on things, and she's just super funny.
Sharp. She is so sharp.
She's from Tennessee.
She
told me that a lot of people don't agree with her. That's why I want to ask that question. She's just like, everybody's like, why are you doing this? This is like so bad that you're impersonating her. And, you know, she's like, she wanted to make light of the situation because everything's so dark right now. Everything is so
my parents can't even fathom that Erica has anything to do with it, or Turning Point, or Donald Trump, or FBI. Like, and then I try to present evidence, and it's like they just don't even want to hear it because they can't fathom it, right? Because it's just so unthinkable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so too much to process, so they shut down.
Just don't want to look at it. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to look at it.
What about you, John?
And it's like, I can admit I was wrong. You know, I mean, I would have never voted for Kamala Harris, but I fully believed in Trump, and he was going to drain the swamp. And like you said, it's just, I don't believe in the government at all anymore, unfortunately. You know, I don't know if I'm going to vote again. It depends on the person who runs. Like, they'd have to be a very, very good person in my mind and in my heart. And I just don't know if there's anyone out there right now.
Joe Kent, Tucker Carlson.
I was going to say Joe Kent, Thomas Massey, Tucker Carlson. But let's see if they run. That would be really interesting.
It'll be Candace and Erica.
And I don't even know if the elites that run our world would allow them to run, if they would even let them get to that point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Vance said he's not running, right?
Yeah, he said he removed himself.
Yeah.
You know, the primaries make it impossible for a third party, like independent candidate, to make it. You know, you want to talk about our our election process being compromised. Our primaries are the most compromised. Like they pick who runs, so you're getting a choice between two hand-picked candidates, and most people don't even vote in the primaries. So it's the easiest thing to our government's in such shambles because it's designed in a way that the normal person doesn't engage enough for them to have an influence. So, it's very easy for them to move the gauge any way they want. So
Now they don't have Charlie.
Yeah, they don't have somebody to
again,
push
like
back.
when you have a left field threat, a threat that they don't think they control, that they don't have compromising material on, and they could potentially run, and they could be popular enough where they couldn't even gain the primary against them, you best believe that they'll take measures to ensure that they never get to that point. Like, you're looking at trillions of dollars. Think of how much tax money they're not spending our tax money. They're spending our great grandchildren's tax money at this point. Like the amount of money that they throw around now is, you can't even fathom it. And we're decentralized. When they did the first $1 trillion budget, it was like people were shocked about $1 trillion. That doesn't even make sense. We'll never be able to pay that back. Now they're like, once you pass $1 trillion, let's run it up to 50 trillion. It'll be 100 trillion before anybody reacts to it. Like, it's life-changing money, and we don't know what these people are doing with the money, but we know it's not in our interest.
Right.
That's the only thing we can be sure of. And as long as you have that much influence and that much money behind it, you're gonna have nefarious characters pop up and try to take control of it. And until we rein the size of our government back and we hold accountable every dollar they spend, we can expect to have a corrupt government. And that's just going to be the way it is. The paradigm of the left and right is just to divide us so we're easy to control. Like, you can look throughout history when they have corrupt governments are always divided between two parties, because you can keep the corruption going on forever that way. Because it's very easy to divide it 49-51, and everyone thinks, oh, we were so close, maybe next time. But look at the policies. The policies never change. The money keeps being spent the same amount of levels. The things they promise don't happen. It's only during those campaign years that they're even a subject. And people think that they're going to get something done about it, but it's like they have amnesia for the last 4 years that nothing got done about it, and that wasn't even brought up. They can't see past every 4 years, and they just get caught in the same trappings of thinking they're going to vote their way to prosperity or some sort of social change, and it never happens. Like, I've been through it enough to see. I've been on both sides of the political spectrum, like all three sides, and now I've realized that the game's so rigged that the only thing you can do is decentralize, start working for your neighbor, start producing things for yourself, start to reduce your dependency on government. The more we rely on each other, and we know that our goodwill as citizens to take care of each other, the less we think we have to have a government, the more likely we'll be likely to take the actions to remove ourselves from the government that's going to just bleed us to death. They're slaving our kids at this point. Like, the amount of debt that's left on their heads is unpayable. So what are we doing? Like, it's kind of like a game of Monopoly that's gone far too long, and everybody's bankrupt, but we're still just playing the game for some reason.
That's a good way of putting it, John, because it really is getting brutal like that. And everything you said is right. It's like not only our grandchildren, but our grandchildren's grandchildren are already in debt. They're not even going to be born for 100 years. And when we start doing that to ourselves as a civilization, it's freaking brutal, man.
Yeah,
like it's brutal.
Yeah,
like, it's already hard enough for us here as adults to get by. Like, what's it going to be like for that person who is going to be our great grandson or great granddaughter down the future, like down the road? Like, how are they going to navigate? Like, we're already scraping by.
It's bleak.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
I have an unpopular belief that the state should secede from the union and become independent again.
Absolutely.
Get off of the federal tit.
You get 50 different examples of how to properly organize liberty in our modern day age. Everything has changed so much. We need a whole new paradigm of how we governance each other and how we go about business and how we go about regulations. And the best way to arrive to a good model is to have lots of models that run concurrently. Look at AI. Imagine what AI would be like if we only had one company that had an AI engine. It would be like Microsoft. You know what I mean? The stuff would be blue screening all the time. You wouldn't be able to get anything done. But because you have so many different people developing different models, and they're all learning from each other, and they're all trying their best to get the best model, it's advancing rapidly. And
they put billions into AI.
And no one person
Yeah.
has control of it, though. You know, every time you think one person has a head, someone else comes with a new innovation and completely changes it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of free markets. The free markets can fail a lot of different ways, but at least you get the freedom of choice. And in the freedom of choice, you can choose your way out of dependency. Where when you just have one choice, you're just stuck with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I dislike when the state provides solutions, because the state doesn't allow anyone else to do it. When the state starts doing something, they'll make it illegal for anyone else to do it. And so you get one provider, one solution. It doesn't matter if it works or not. You're going to take it and like it, and you're going to pay for it, and you're not going to say anything about it. And you get no choice, and no one can come up with an alternative because it's illegal to do so. And, you know, the more we're faced with these type of scenarios, whatever market that may be, where it's energy or healthcare or whatever it is, you know, these corporate lobbying, they're basically working hand in hand with the government. And so you get a few providers of all the things we need every day in life. And we wonder why everything we buy is shrinking in size, but stays the same price. And it's poisonous to us. And, you know, they tell us they're going to get rid of food dyes, but they just change the definitions of food dyes. You know, they say they're going to get rid of Roundup, but then they say, oh, no, we looked into it. Roundup's okay. You know, it's just like, it's constantly hem-hawing and just, you know, I think it's a proper term, honey dicking, where they promise something that tastes sweet, but at the end of the day, they give you something that's not sweet at all. And you're like, this is not what you told me I was getting. Like, this is not what I wanted to taste. This isn't it. And that's what we get constantly.
Eat natural. Just eat everything natural. Don't buy any preservatives. Or
It's easy. Most of the people around you are producing most of the food you need. You just need to get to know them. You know what I mean? It's just like, so easy to go to the big retailers and buy their stuff that they're importing from all over the world, when you're passing literally people that are making that are producing or growing that same stuff. All you have to do is just reach out for them. Like, go to your farmer's market. Like, you don't have to go there every weekend.
Yeah, we get fresh stuff delivered to our front door from farms.
That's starting in the spring all the way till fall. We don't buy any fruits and vegetables from anywhere except for the local farms that are maybe 20 kilometers away, and they give us a basket every week of fresh stuff.
Support your local farms.
Wherever you are, support your local farms. Just do it, because there's one where everybody is. Find out where they are and see what they got, and go talk to them. Make a deal. They need your help anyways. They need your support. And it helps you. It only benefits you. It doesn't hurt you in any way.
And it's keeping money in your community. That money, that money enriches your entire community. Every child around you, everyone benefits from it. But when you buy from a retailer and you're buying beef from Argentina or fruit from, you know, Peru, that's not helping your community. That money's just flying right out of your community and going somewhere else, and everyone around you is left in poverty, and you wonder why. And it's just like, you have to be mindful where you spend your dollars. It takes a little more effort, and you have to be a little more personable than you may like to be. But at the end of the day, these people will be the people that support you and keep you afloat when you show up at the supermarket and they don't have anything on the shelves, because we're not too far from that. Like, we have an oil crisis that's going to be coming up on us soon, and everything gets shipped. Everything's imported. Like, your stores are going to be getting more expensive. There's going to be things that are missing there. But you know what doesn't require oil? Your neighbor that grows the produce, or the guy down the street that has a ranch that you know, slaughters beef. Like, those don't get affected by the price of oil. So it's like, the time to make these relationships are now. You have to start making the moves now, because once you start to feel the pain for it, it's too late. Like, those people they can only produce so much, and they're going to take care of the people that were shopping with them beforehand. And, you know, once they 100%. Reach their minimum, they're like, sorry, I would love to help you, but I'm sold out, you know, and you're out of luck at that point.
Yeah. Somebody asked for the link to the Trigger Smart video, so I'm sending that again.
Yeah, I've done a few Trigger Smarts. They're all really good.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was one of my favorite. 16 lives lost in Tennessee. I agree. Maggie knew too much.
That's the accurate energetic systems explosion that
Mhm.
happened.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Buck Snort is a beautiful part of the country too.
I actually went there.
Yeah, I'm a Tennessean,
Yeah.
so that's my I went to middle school, high school, got married in Nashville, so that's
Okay.
my backyard. So
16 people died.
That's
I
brutal,
think
man.
16 people.
six,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Uh,
if
the production
mic-
manager was just on the job for 30 days. She just started the job. 30
See,
days on the job, and that happens.
so that's crazy.
Tragic.
So if it actually is proven that the mic killed him and that's where it was, that's 16 people sacrificed to cover it up right then and there, and that's just what we would know about. So if that's proven to be true, somebody has to answer for those
And the
16
plant
lives.
manager, you guys, the plant manager, he quit a couple days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
Yeah, it's
before the
really-
plant
That's an
exploded.
interesting fact.
That's
No, it's
convenient.
all sorts of weirdness around the plant manager. I deep dived on him, and it was just he spent a strange summer. I'll say it that way. That summer before the event was very, very weird, out of the ordinary, I would say. But you look at what was at stake, the whole Iran war. Like we have a hindsight now. How much money,
Guys, I'll be right back. Hold on.
how much money's been made off this Iran war? Like, and Charlie was in the way of that. So,
Oh, a lot.
Each day.
Well,
Quite a
was
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like the government was spending it on military, but if you look at what happened when the announcement first went out, there was people that made certain investments, and they made hand over fist. Like I have no idea if this is true or not. I've seen some posts on X of a certain leader's son dropping 52 million on the market, and then within 3 hours ended up making almost 160 million. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say the name,
Yeah.
but you get what I'm saying. You guys seen the same thing?
Yeah.
If that's
Yeah.
true, like, wow. And even if he didn't do it, we all know that there's people who were doing that. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of being in the government, to get that inside
And they're getting
information.
away with it.
yeah.
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 And
That
guess
was
what?
like-
We're not talking about
We are
anymore.
slaves.
The old Ease Island is just disappeared from the
Done. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
even talks about it. Not even
Yeah.
concerned about it. So much more going on in the world that's more important. We're not even,
Isn't that bizarre, eh?
Well,
yeah.
I think
Mhm.
it's almost like they used one thing to cover up another thing to cover up another thing. They used what we call on our channel Gilligan's Island to
Yeah.
cover up for Charlie. Now they're using Iran to cover up for that. But it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, now we've got three things to stare at. So, if it ever quiets down, say over in the Middle East, people are going to start looking back into stuff again,
Yeah.
and then there's people like us who never stop looking.
Yep.
We've been
Right.
looking at all of this stuff nonstop for months now. And
I posted about Epstein today, and actually, on the 24th, I think it is, I'm interviewing Michael DeSabo. He did a documentary on HBO, Surviving Ohio State, which has to do with DuPont and who's the Ohio guy? Who's the Victoria's Secret guy? His name's
Nygaard?
escaping me.
No, not Nygaard. Not
Les
Nygaard.
Lex
Wexner.
Les
Les
Wexner,
Wexner.
yeah.
Yeah. And he's tied to Epstein. And
Wow.
so anyways, I'm interviewing him on the 24th because, it's important. It's still, we want to keep this Epstein thing
Yes.
going
You're
and
interviewing
not
Lex
let it be
Wexner?
forgotten. No, Mike DeSabo, he was in the HBO
Oh.
documentary Surviving Ohio State, which, Lex Wexner is a huge part of the cover up and all of that shadiness with Ohio State and the doctor that had molested and harassed thousands of men, boys in Ohio State. Dr. Strauss. Anyway, he committed suicide. But anyway, so that they have this whole lawsuit going against Ohio State. So I'm hoping to keep that at the forefront of people's minds too, along with everything else. Unfortunately, there's so much. And we have to be able to make room for all of it because none of it, we can't let any of it slide.
Yeah.
But it is so hard. I know. I always I got to take a break for a little bit and unplug, but I always have to. I always just keep coming back to all of these things because we just can't rest right now because the enemy's not resting.
No. In fact, they're doubling down.
Yeah.
Yeah, throwing more out there. So
Yeah.
let's see. Terry said, what's the chance that the autopsy photo supplied to the defense shows the chest wound? If not, that means it's a fraud. Yeah, for sure. I think very low chances.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to get anything that's going to be remotely believable.
Do you guys have faith in the defense?
No, no.
Mm.
Their
Why do you
actions,
say?
their actions seem more concerned with like public's knowledge of their workings than the actual defense of Tyler.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the main issues they've brought up, I kind of agree with you, John. Like the things that they're talking about is really, really freaking weird. And it's not like they're pushing for the defense of Tyler. They're talking about stuff which is just petty, in my opinion. It's just like, what, you want to care what you look like? Shouldn't you
Yeah.
care about doing the job? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
think
brutal.
cameras, you agree with the cameras, even though it could hurt Tyler? Do you agree with the cameras and media being involved in the hearings and in the trial?
I think it should be there.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that there should be cameras allowed in media for sure.
It's the only way to
I
keep
mean, it
things
was such a
transparent.
public event. We all deserve to see it, you know? And if we don't, then we're never going to know what really was said.
We've already saw the worst of it anyway. What are we going to see?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we already, you know, millions of people around the world already got traumatized by that video. So it's like, you know, you don't have anything to hide now except for the truth. So, you know, spit it out.
Yeah. Spit it out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jon has explained everything, especially in Black Line brief video, very clearly. I don't see a reason why people wouldn't be able to understand. So Black Line brief video, is that another podcast you were on?
Yeah, that's the last podcast I did. I show more multimedia on there than anywhere
I mean,
else.
I thought it was very clear to understand. I did an entire episode on the Brandi and Billy show podcast about your specific theory.
I think it was
That's what
some
I
people in the
personally
comments
believe
where they were
happens
saying
right
something.
now.
Yeah. Somebody in the comments was saying, I don't understand.
What? Sorry?
Sorry. I was saying somebody was in the comments was saying earlier, like they didn't understand or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think that got
It's
brought up
complex,
and got
but if you
addressed.
could find some videos that explain it,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you explained it pretty well, Jon.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Jed says, we never saw the whole SUV afterwards. Could it be part of a window with the reported guy hanging out of the door going down the interstate struggle? I don't know.
I think that's
That's
possible
possible.
because we never did see the right side of that SUV as it pulled away. So
Anything's possible now
that's
because everything keeps
possible.
changing every day, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we only saw the SUV from the left side when it pulled away. We never saw anything from the right side.
Well, we don't even have any footage of it being on the highway.
Well,
anything like
yeah,
that. We don't have nothing.
No, we wouldn't have any of that. You figure like maybe some kind of traffic camera, something would have got something, right? It's not like they're rolling video on themselves.
We don't
rolling
have a
down the street.
picture of the whole vehicle, the whole
Yeah.
entire vehicle.
Yeah.
So makes it hard when, I guess Candace just drops that.
Well, yeah, you think there'd be like street camera videos of
Oh yeah.
them speeding down the street. Apparently, they were like hanging out of the car. Why haven't we seen any of that?
That's a good point.
That's a very good question. Like I agree. Like, if that's the story that's being given, well then how do you know that? Did they tell you that, or did you see evidence of that? Did you see footage? Like, did you talk to a little lady walking her dog and she said, yeah, I seen a van with Harpole hanging out going down the street. Like, how do they know that, right?
Somebody apparently called it in and said, called 911.
A couple different calls. Yeah. I couldn't get my hands. I had called and asked for that and submitted, but they won't give any of the audio.
Yeah, because I would love to see some of that or hear any of it, actually, for that matter. Even if it's only 10 seconds. Granted, I'd want more, but
You think
I'd
they'll
take
play-
anything
You
at
think
this
they'll
point.
play that in the courtroom? Or
I don't know.
Only if it's evidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jeff says paving the area right away was an obvious red flag. So weird. Didn't realize it was on Sunday. Even weirder. Was it? It was 4 days after, right?
It was on
that
a Sunday.
they
And
started on Sam Parker said they started on Saturday, the 13th. Because there's
okay, well,
files
all
out
I know
from-
is Mormons or the LDS is, I guess, the correct term. They don't typically work on Sunday. So for them to do that on a Sunday was very bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't work on Sunday. Do you know the name of that company that did the work? Can we
I
go
have
talk
it
to them when
somewhere.
I'm out there? When I'm out there, should we go talk to them?
Yeah, I actually have some
would.
contacts that we could talk to when you come out here for the trial. I saw someone ask if I was still going to the trials. Yes, still going to all of them, and Teresa's going to come with me to the next one. Actually,
Sweet.
we had
Yeah,
a
Then
great
on,
send
on
it to me.
Friday when I
last one.
release my stuff, you can go ask somebody else a question in,
Yeah.
Okay.
Utah, because I have something for you
Cool.
guys on Friday.
I would.
Okay.
Are we going to try to hit Cowboy Smokehouse? Go out there. The drive.
Why not? Let's do it.
Is that,
do
is
it.
that a good place to eat or something?
Well, that's where Tyler stopped off to eat. Candace had said that,
Oh, is that the one?
the Cowboy
Oh,
Smokehouse
Cowboy-
had,
Okay.
yeah, that he went there,
go there.
and so yeah, for sure. Let's see if there's any other ones. There was a button Harpole just pressed it. There was a button Harpole just pressed. It didn't require movement.
I don't know about that.
I need to see more evidence for me
Yeah.
to start going on to
Touching
That
a
theory,
shirt
yeah.
or a finger.
like if
or-
I'm going to believe something detonated, I'll probably believe John's work over that theory. I think
yeah.
Mhm.
if I'm going to bail on what I'm thinking and even a couple of my other theories, I just don't. I need to see more work out of that theory.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. I just need to see more work out of it.
Let's see. She also says if clasp broke in the middle, it wouldn't move even on both sides. And if pendants got caught on the other end of the clasp in the fabric, the energy would only be in one side, wouldn't it?
So I guess she's talking if it was down, it got hit there. She was saying you'd only see it from one side. I guess that's what she's
I'm
saying.
not sure I understand. If the clasp broke in the middle,
Yeah. I thought it would just fall down.
it wouldn't
just
mean,
me.
yeah. Awesome props, awesome stuff. Props to all of you.
Yeah, I think tonight was great. It was a great combo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was good.
Well, we just want
That's
a good conversation and just bring information on where both the sort of theories are. And it was weird for us because we're debating a theory that's actually old because we've made a modification.
Yeah.
So it was funny doing that because I kept stopping myself from trying to go forward on stuff we haven't presented yet, and I'm like, I can't do
Yeah.
that yet.
I can't talk about that.
Well, yeah. So it was weird, but I was glad to get some more insight from John and just to have a good conversation.
Yeah.
So I thought it was great, and I just want to say thanks for having us on, Teresa. And it was great to have conversations with John and Brandi. And just,
Yeah,
thanks for
thank you
having
guys
us
for
on.
being here. And
Yeah, this
hit
was
the
awesome.
thumbs up if you haven't, please. Hit all notifications bell. And then you guys have on Friday, you have your new information coming out. Are you
Yes.
going to do that on X, on YouTube, live stream? What are you doing?
Live stream on YouTube. It'll probably go on my X, but
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll throw a post there.
Yeah.
We
What
usually
time?
It's gonna be later because I'm having another girl come on with me, so it's probably gonna be 9 p.m. Eastern.
Can you give us a
Okay.
hint? Just a little hint. Just a nugget. Just a little
Okay.
tiny nugget.
It might have something to do with the SUV and something that you guys can like go and probably investigate that when you're down there.
Ooh.
Well, one thing when you were talking about the crew that paved over the area, we were in a space where Phil Lyman was in there, and Allie actually asked him a direct question about the paving over of the scene, and he said he's asked and he can't find out who gave the instruction or who hired the company to do it. He says he has no idea, and he's tried and he can't find out. So if you ladies are down around there, if you can somehow pull that information out of somebody,
Or go talk to Phil Lyman, get an interview with him. That'd be cool. But he also said he doesn't believe Tyler Robinson did it.
yeah, he said that in
I
that
have a
space.
contact that I just recently acquired. So I will we'll talk offline about this.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Somebody said, let's do this real quick. Can you guys confirm the boom occurred at 12:23 and 30 seconds, or was it 29 seconds? If exactly 30 seconds, it seems more sus something was set to go at that exact time.
Mm.
I don't know down to the second. I would have to go look up that information personally again.
Yeah.
Who is
Maybe-
Teresa? Me.
It's her.
This is
What
your
do you
channel.
mean?
Her whole cook night.
She's
That
the
would be
gracious
me.
host. She brought us together.
She's bringing us
I'm
the
just
better
somebody-
life, baby.
Just as somebody who wants to stand up for the truth and expose all the the better life. That's what we're doing, guys. Okay. Well, thank you, Jon, so much. Allie, Chris, Mad Max, Brandi.
Thank you.
Teresa
for
makes
having
bombs. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here, everyone. I appreciate you all, and we'll see you later, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
everything.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Thanks too.
Bye.
This is a better life. From scars to stars, from pain to bulletproof. Teresa, better life. A better life with you. Talking news, pop culture life, love and scandal, heart to heart. Teresa, better life. Real is where the reset starts. No playing small. We rise, we fall. We laugh, we do it all. A better life is one brave call. Teresa, better life. Let's build a better life. Let's build a better life. A better life. Teresa, better life.